Welcome to Spelunkers, a place for exploring video games and nerd culture. This is the game exploration show where we break games into digestible chunks, play through them together with the community, and discuss them in exhaustive detail. This is our exploration of Resident Evil 8 Village, whatever you want to call it.
Sorry, I thought this was the Lady Dimitrescu fan club.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's what I'm here for. If we're not here for that.
Okay, I mean, let's
Wait,
pivot.
did you show up to the wrong recording?
Yeah, I guess I did. Apparently, I'm hosting the wrong recording.
Oh no.
But yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about Resident Evil 8 up until you leave House. Is it Beneviento or Benevento?
Beneviento.
Beneviento. Okay.
Beneviento, yeah.
Until you leave House Beneviento. So if you have not played that far and you don't want any spoilers, stop listening now. I am Chris Bartlett, and I am joined by Rob Hudak.
Oh, hey, hi, hello there.
Hello. And Doreen, I'm sorry, I always get your last name wrong. Sinclair?
Cleyre, right?
Yeah, it's Cleyre.
Just Cleyre. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Apologies.
That's okay. Sinclair is more like spiffy, you know what I mean? That'd be cool. But anyway,
It's
hi,
like an
yeah,
department store in the mall.
That's right. I go by she/her pronouns, and my name's Dory. Happy to be here to talk about the tall lady, and I guess there's a game here too, but mostly tall lady.
There's a lot of tall lady in this first section.
There is.
From what I gather, probably this is about it.
It sure seems that way.
Unless she's making a big comeback, and I mean big comeback in the second half of the game. So, yeah.
Look, I don't trust the Duke. I keep selling him shit. Maybe that's a fault on my end. But he's giving me that sweet money. He's probably like building a shrine to revive her. Like
that would be cool.
Probably.
Just like a Hey Arnold Helga shrine.
Yeah, my little football head.
Yeah.
My little tall lady.
He was definitely very into the like crystal Lady Demetrice that you sell him, talking about its curves and crap. What a weirdo. Yeah.
What a fucking weirdo. Subscribe to our OnlyFans like the rest of us, you freak.
So let's just start with general thoughts. Rob, what are you feeling about the game in general?
Really liking it. It is giving me vibes of what I really appreciated about Resident Evil 7, like that first half to 2/3. Like part of what I loved about that game was how it had distinct, not biomes necessarily, but like sections that illustrated strengths and atmosphere of a particular like encounter that you will then have with the boss. So, you know, Mr. Baker, Mrs. Baker, the son with like the saw puzzle room thing. This is doing a similar thing in your rogues gallery of the four people you encounter and then Mother Miranda. And it's really delivering on its atmosphere so far. And like we'll talk about criticisms a little bit with like performance because I'm playing on PC, and that is something of note. But all around, like, it's fun. It's really fun to play, and it is like knowing in its self-referential humor, like pertaining to like a hand moment in the castle. It is aware of that stuff, and I love that for it. But it is still like unsettling at points, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, very unsettling at one particular point in this section.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, what do you think, Dory, so far?
I'm very hot on this game. This is shaping up to be in my. So I've only played a certain amount of Resident Evil games, but this is probably shaping up to be my top 3, maybe easily already. Even if it bungles the second half, I'm still probably going to be like really hot on this game. I love the combat. I love the characters. Ethan's a complete dope and a doofus, and I'm here for it. I love a man with no character arc at all who just doesn't learn his lesson.
He's a dad trying to find his daughter.
He's got that dad bod in his head right now.
He's major dad bod.
Major dad bod. But I love it. I am really enjoying myself. I haven't been this legitimately scared in a Resident Evil game since maybe 7, the first hour. and then as we all know, it kind of drops off from there, right? So
Mhm.
I've been really impressed with the game so far.
Same.
I have heard that this is kind of the peak, and then it goes in some iffy directions later on, but we'll see. I don't even know if that's true for me personally, but it's just what I've heard from some other folks who have played it. But right now anyway, very, very strong.
Yeah, it's a very strong first half.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've also heard in terms of horror, it drops off pretty hard after House Beneviento. But I've heard a lot of people that still enjoy the second half as, like, you know, an RE4 style action game, kind of, which is a lot of what this game is. Like, I absolutely love that we have an upgrade system here. This is, like, I think it's this one and 4, maybe 5 and 6. I don't even remember those games very well. That had, like, a legitimate upgrade system.
History doesn't either.
Some people remember 5 fondly. I remember 5 fondly.
No,
but-
I enjoyed
I
5 a
remember
lot.
Yeah.
Just playing with friends.
Yeah.
That's mostly what I remember about 5.
That's what I was going to say. I remember 5 fondly insofar as the co-op, but everything else I could take or leave.
Yeah.
yeah.
And punching boulders. I mean,
Yes, everybody remembers
love
that.
that.
Is a given.
Everyone remembers the end of that game. Well, everyone remembers like weird flying Wesker doing crazy shit, and they remember punching
Jill
the boulder.
with a weird parasite mind control thing on her chest.
Literally shooting an RPG into a volcano. I mean, just the most action movie. Like, there was something that would make the Fast and the Furious blush, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all hoping that they're going to tie punching the boulder to Chris's complete lapse in judgment here. Murdering.
Really-
well, I guess we
really
don't know if it's a
hoping-
lapse. Maybe he's the good guy. I don't
For
know.
sure. Maybe he's turned heel. I don't know.
So, there's something I am aware of. This game is aware of Chris's history.
Okay,
Is all that I know.
sure.
Yeah,
I
I'm,
really
later.
hope they tie it back into him punching the boulder. Like, at some point, like, Ethan just looks through his file and the file reads, "Ever since he punched that boulder, Chris has never been the same."
Proficiencies.
That's
Redfield.
he punched that boulder so hard it
Boulder
sent a shock to his
neutralization.
brain.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So yeah, my general thoughts. I mean, I love it too. I love the upgrade system. I love it does everything that RE7 did that I enjoyed, but better and with less run and hide. There's definitely some run and hide, but I think it's
Especially
used sparingly
later on.
and well. Yeah,
But it feels very contained, right? Like, it does. Like, I never got. I got a little tired of the running and hiding in 7, mostly with Margaret or Marguerite, or whatever her
yeah.
name was. But I mean, overall, I still really like the running and hiding, and I'm not that kind of horror person. Like, I do like my survival horror, and I don't mind running and hiding for a short amount, as long as eventually you can fight back. Like, I'm not into that Outlast, Amnesia stuff for a full game. Like, I'm okay with it for some of the game, but eventually I gotta feel powerful and strike back, because otherwise I'm not interested. That's just too much for me.
I'm down with that as an option if that is like the game's conceit and what it is focusing on. The issue I had in particular with 7 was it was so much of one thing, and then it ripped. And I'm totally fine with, like, okay, you lose some of your guns for a little bit of time, but like, give me a knife,
Yeah.
just so I can participate a little bit, because it was bogged down by just having to run, backtrack back and forth while not being able to fight anything.
Yeah,
But-
I know a lot of people had issues with that ship section in 7, and I was very lucky that I did it in one try. I barely did it. I barely had any health left, but I got through it in one try. So
Right.
I avoided all the headache and frustration people would say. But that's good. That's just because I got lucky, honestly.
Yeah, and sometimes it happens that way.
Yeah, for sure.
But with like House Beneviento, that is essentially, like, to some extent, through like the second half of that house, that is almost exclusively like a run and hide thing.
Yeah.
But it handles it really well. It is
does.
effective about, like, clearly communicating how you kind of engage with the space and giving you options to escape. And it's a very small biome, and so, like, the threat is constantly, like, not far from you, but you're always not that far from where you need to go, or like a typewriter or anything, like the one typewriter in that house.
yeah, for
and
sure. I think they we'll talk about the baby later, but I think they do a really good
I
job
would like
of
to see the baby.
they do a really good job of keeping the run and hide in a small section. Like I saved before I went to House Beneviento, and I saved immediately after on 2 different saves, and it was only an hour for the entire like travel there, do that entire
Right.
house, and then go back. It wasn't elongated
Short and
too
sweet.
much.
It knows what it is trying to communicate, does it well. Say the castle. So I think the castle is probably the greatest space to explore in its top tier like Resident Evil history. I think it's on par with the police station
Oh,
in terms of like interest and keeping me engaged. But a part of it also comes down to Lady Dimitrescu following you constantly and performing that that hunter like Nemesis, or what was originally Nemesis, and then like Mr. X and more so into remake.
Yeah,
Is expertly done.
I think maybe some of y'all know this, but I got my hot takes on Resident Evil. RE2 make, or whatever you want to call it.
For sure.
Like, I'm not as hot on it as everybody else is. Or I seem to be in the minority there, but still a great game, still a good game.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Definitely not wasn't on my GOTY list or anything like that. But so I definitely like Castle Dimitrescu better than the police station, as much as the police station is pretty good, and Mr. X is great, although he just gets flat out annoying after a little while.
Yeah, he's just like, would you please move, sir?
Would you please just move? I have the weaponry to put you down. I'm choosing not to, sir. Please just move.
You're just
Sir?
being rude.
Sir, please move.
yeah. Every subsequent playthrough of that game, I think this is probably true for everybody. Like, you know where it is that he starts spawning, and you just avoid that spot until like you have to go there, and then he's only there for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, and you can just serpentine through the hallways because you like after subsequent playthroughs you know the path and roughly what you need, so you can just like, okay, pardon me, just come through.
Well,
Yeah,
before
I think they take that sort of footstep technology right from Mr. X, and they put it with Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah, and I like how they did that. I think the really cool addition was the daughters. I thought that involving like mini bosses in different spots of the face and tying like item gathering or puzzle solving to that in a sense was, it was another one of those things. It did not say it's welcome. It communicated its steps very clearly.
Yes.
But there was still mystery and exploration to be had in that space still. And like with the treasure map as an example, I love games that do that stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's a tiny little thing you might have passed by, and like adventure games are great at that, and survival horror has that too, like rewarding you for going back to a space that it replenishes enemies a bit, but it's engaging all the time. And yeah, I love it so much.
Yeah. So before we jump into the game proper, I said we were joined by 2 people, but I lied. We have a third person joining us right now. Tyler's here, everybody. Tyler, the Spelunker.
Hey,
Hey.
Tyler, you're here just in time because we just gave our general impressions, and then some, I'd say a little bit. But what are your general takeaways so far from the game?
This game fucking rules. Having a great time.
Preach.
It's just scary enough, in my opinion, where it's like just enough action, just enough a bit of unnerving that is like perfect for me. I don't like to feel like I'm not comfortable playing until you get to the second house, and then I was like, I'm not fucking comfortable at all, and I shut it off for about 4 days, and then I finally came back to it. But yeah, this is great. I'm having a blast. I think all the characters are super fun and interesting. I think the village itself is interesting, and just like the way it starts off is fucking wild. I was not expecting that intro because I streamed it on my personal Twitch account, and I was like trying to fuck with Mia while she was cooking, and she's like, "No, don't go away. Go away from me." I was like, "Oh, I'll fuck around with you later at some other point." No, I will not, because she immediately got taken out of the picture, and that was shocking.
You did not know that going in?
What?
That she was dead?
I watched nothing.
Yeah, I was
nice.
gonna say he had like no exposure to coverage.
Yeah,
but
I
I was
didn't
kind
watch
of
any
frustrated
trailers.
with how much they were like. I get it. It's like, okay, it's first 10, 20 minutes, but like, come on.
It would have been a
maybe
good
don't,
shock,
tell,
for everybody, I think.
Tell everyone.
I,
Well, it was
I
for
didn't know
me,
she was
like-
gonna be. I didn't know she was gonna be dead. I just knew that something had happened to her, and I knew something happened to her, but I wasn't sure. I guess the whole, you already finished Mia, so do me too. But I think I got so like hooked on the phrasing of "do me too" that I was like, I kind of just
Fair.
forgot what he was even talking about. So
It was shocking to see Chris bust up in there and lay waste to her. That it was wild. But right there, start off with a bang. Yeah, just start off with a bang, and then it was just super crazy, like continuous from there. I think the pacing is amazing. You get just enough of these like little action sequences with a little bit of exploration, with a little bit of puzzle, and it's like it's a really, really good fucking Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Really
yeah.
Absolute blast. And like Rob mentioned a little bit earlier, but the I love a game with a hub and spoke structure where you have a central place that you're always coming back to, but then you're always going to a new place, but you always come back.
Oh yeah,
It's very good.
yep.
I love
It was
it.
a great time.
So at the very start of the game, here's the Village of Shadows, like little book thing. That we saw this in a trailer, and everyone was like, "What is that? Is that going to be like an art style at some point in the game?"
I never
throughout
saw
the game?
that.
I know you didn't watch any trailers. I
I
understand.
loved it.
But yeah, it's just for this one section, and it is like it's cool. I like the little. I mean, maybe it'll come back later. I guess we only played half the game.
I mean, in some ways, it is literally manifesting itself with the foes that you encounter.
It
It
reminded me
very
of,
much reminded me of like watching Coraline or
Totally.
like one of those,
Yeah.
one of those kind
100%.
of movies. Like I really dug this art style, and I thought this was very effective at communicating kind of what the directions that Village was maybe going to take, and the ominous kind of gothic storytelling, children's storybooks that it was driving its kind of callbacks from.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, especially one of the movies where they finally go into the telling of the Deathly Hallows, and you had this like animated sequence of like the three brothers and the whole interaction of the Hallows with death. It was like a perfect mirror of that, and I thought that was really cool and interesting. It's a cool way to start off the story.
Yeah, it's a Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a true Grimm, like German written Grimm's fairy tale, not like teeth filed down or anything. Like it's like grim and
yeah,
dark.
it does not have a good ending.
Yeah.
It's not a happy one.
But yeah, it also sets the stage for like, okay, the vampire that bites its wing to give the blood of its wing is like, it's Lady Dimitrescu. And like it's starting to tease the characters you engage with in little bits, and I like that. It's a fun foreshadowing, and it's charming. And also, Mia, why are you reading this to this child?
Yes.
6 months old.
Look, Rob, it's okay because the child doesn't understand and will never remember.
Look, don't you
Therefore, it's
gaslight
fine.
me like Mia does Ethan. She is terrible.
Yeah.
You're just being paranoid. It's all in your head. This is fine. Don't talk about the time. Pam, 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 pam.
Yeah. She beats him when we're not looking.
Chris just went in there because
Jesus,
he's like, I'm tired
Tyler.
of you reading that fucking book to her. Shot her
Did
up.
you all see that mod that replaces Rose
Yes,
with
it's
Chris's
terrifying.
It's
And then
awful.
Chris with the baby's head. Chris with the
No,
rose's head.
no good.
It's amazing.
Real quick
So
on
good.
on your note with the Village of Shadows, kind of like teasing the big villains. Like what was the second character in the book? Do you remember? Because I know there's the bat, which is obviously Lady Demetrius.
There's
the fish.
like Dark Reaper.
Yep.
Oh,
Which
okay.
I
So I guess
suspect
that's Angie,
is-
or
is-
not Angie, but
Yeah, the doll lady.
yeah.
In House Beneviento, and then the horse for the brother.
Yeah, which he's all like mechanical.
You know, I know some reviewers
cool.
are saying that like the boss fights were like a little underwhelming. Like I am not getting that sensation so far. Like,
Yeah, I've
They're
liked them.
fun.
I have every encounter, even the mini bosses, even Dimitrescu's daughter, especially that first encounter. Like I think by maybe the third one, I was like, okay, I get the point of these fights. But like the first and the second were really intense, especially that first one where you don't have a lot of room to maneuver, and the fight just kind of happens out of nowhere, and you have no idea unless you've read specific notes. You have no idea what the weakness is.
You're basically in like a pocket garage that is like 5 feet by 5 feet. What feels like I don't know. Do a fucking lap, shoot the window, run.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the fight with a Jackmaker and RE7 in the literal garage.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, wouldn't it suck to fight regenerating dude in a garage?
Yeah, it's but like the third one. Well, it was the third for me. Was the one with the lighting or the roof? I might have done it out of order or something. I just because I explored it a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
I did the opposite order. I
See,
did that
that's
one
what's
second.
cool is you can do it in different orders.
That's cool.
That's part of what I like about that because I noticed that because I was talking with Chris a little bit, Crypto Zookeeper. Is he encountered one of them a different way, and so when I was talking with him, I was like, "Oh, I didn't have that issue at all with this particular one." He was describing as like, "Oh, this was a different fight. You fought them at a different point." And so when I encountered the other one third, I was like, "Oh," because he was describing them as like they kept running away from me. I was like, "The second one didn't run away from me at all. She was always in my grill."
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, he was talking about the one with like the central chamber thing." And yeah, she was the third one for me, and like it was kind of perfect for me because it was like, okay, yes, I get the mechanic just looping around, but it was super simple and didn't take too long. It took a little bit longer because it was on hardcore. Took a few more shots, but like the mechanic was easy breezy. But it like by that point, yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, Dory, did you do it in the same order as Tyler and Rob? You do
So here's the order I did it in. I did. The first one was the very narrow one.
Yeah,
same.
The second one,
when you come out of the basement, right?
Yeah. And then the second one is like a slightly bigger room.
Is there something in the center that you have to run around and blow up a wall?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was who I did too.
And then what was the third one for y'all?
You were in the library and you had the bookshelves and you had to pull the lever to open
that was
up
my
the
third one.
Okay.
Yes, that was the third one.
Wow, me and Crypto,
That's interesting.
fellow Chris's, doing it the right way.
That's right, the Chris way. In fact, they call it the Chris way in Resident Evil. There's a little
Yeah,
that's right.
Chris
You got
Chris
your
Redfield
training
was there.
from Mr. Redfield.
That's right.
I don't like my name anymore. Actually, I don't want to be associated with that. Let's change my name. Live on
Shooting wives.
You know,
I
I love his fucking reaction when his literal child is kidnapped and his wife is murdered in front of his eyes, and all he can say is, "Chris, why?" And it's like it sounds like a middle schooler who just watched his best friend get pushed to the pavement by a bully.
Well,
like, it doesn't sound like
Seven. You know, Chris comes in there and saves him, so you think like, oh, they're on the same side. They got some things going on, and then the next thing you know, that guy.
Well, he's giving him military training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, he's blowing his wife away.
But it's just like his reaction is just so affectless, and it comes up constantly.
Why?
As an example, I made a note of this in particular as I was doing some extra capturing for the intro. Just because I remembered, or like it reminded me of how bad it is. But like when he is pulled into the basement after meeting that one dude with a shotgun, and you fall in, and you're like, "Come to," and there's a corpse right in front of you, and he just moves the head. A dead body? What more? Like, fucking come on, dude.
But it's very fucking obvious that there was more before you even got to the dead body.
There's a mass grave in the basement.
Yeah.
And then, like, two other moments, of course, is one of them, and I know we'll get to this later, but when he loses his hand from Lady Dimitrescu, and he's just like, ah! And then,
this is really inconvenient.
And then the other one is, like, when the whole house burns down, and the lady and her father die, and he's like, why does this keep happening to me?
Oh, I hated that.
We're going to wait. We have to wait to talk about that because when we get to it, I have some shit to say
but like
about that area.
He just keeps laying tile for like, dude, you
You
Yeah.
suck.
Or like pretending to care.
Yeah, oh, for sure. 100%.
Honestly,
Yeah.
He's like a
he's
sociopath.
He's
It's
the
great.
real villain.
Yeah.
Ethan Winters is the real villain. And,
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they murdered his wife in front of him. 'cause
that's
he is the
right.
real villain.
And they're just trying to stop the next bioweapon from being born.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, but
really, they're the good guys.
from Resident Evil 7 and the first half of this game, Ethan is like the worst of the Resident Evil protagonists probably, but they're all like overly stoic in the face of terror. They're not
Totally. It's a
realistic
theme for
characters.
these games.
I don't know. I think Ethan is like oddly well written. He's like so campy and like stupid
Yeah.
and like
Oh, he's very well written for delivering what
in
they're
like an
going
obvious
for.
way.
Yeah.
Like you can tell like they wrote him to sound like that for a reason.
I think this game is Capcom kind of embracing that no one really likes Ethan, but everybody
It's
has to kind of deal
Campcom.
with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's camp.
It's
Good
it's
job,
so
Capcom Award.
Yeah, it's so self-aware of what it did
Uh-huh.
well in the 7th one that they
Yes.
just went, whole hog on the 8th one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The fact that they embraced it so much, I think, is why this game is working so well. Like
I agree.
Yeah,
I totally
absolutely.
agree.
like I know we're jumping all over the place, but like when he loses his hand and then he forced the shit on it just to put it back on, he's like, "Oh yeah, and
This
then
is
you-
what I do.
And then
Not
we
not
as the
only
players
that.
are just like, okay,
So yeah, he just attaches it, pours the fucking Mountain Dew gamer juice on his hand, waits a second, it works. Not only that, it restitches his fucking coat sleeve,
yeah,
and his coat's just fine.
Yeah, that's
I love to call that. I love to call that the Magic Bayou juice. Like that's what I call it, the Magic Bayou
oh, yeah.
juice.
Yeah.
yeah. How'd they get that
Little
over here?
MBJ.
Yeah, it's I don't even know about it, so I'll mention it now. There's some of the boxes that you find in the like house in RE7 that like you unlock with lockpicks. There's a few of those here in House Beneviento specifically as well. I don't know if there's a connection.
I
they're
just want to point
teasing.
out, I know from our resident locksmith expert, Captain Stubbs, that this is not how lockpicks work. They do not break after one use. He, in all of his years of being a locksmith, has had like 2 lockpicks his whole career. So,
Well, so what if you're untrained? Even military trained, but unlockpick trained. I don't know if they spent like a week with a
It's
real
also
smith.
a
like-
mystical village. You don't know what kind of weird. shit
yeah,
is going on with those
maybe the
locks.
locks are cursed.
That's right.
Yeah.
that's right. The locks are cursed. We've got.
That's right.
I can't wait till we talk about that Lycans and Gentlemen. Fucking line. That's literally one of my goatee lines of the whole
It's
year
really
in
good.
art. Like it is a work of art. Like I've never thought about saying that.
Yeah.
Fuck, we have so much game to talk about still.
Yeah,
So much.
It's so wild. This game is so wild.
it
It's
is
so
wild.
fun.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be a long episode, guys. This is why we did not do just one episode because our Resident Evil 7 episode was like
That
4
was
hours
as
long.
fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so much just crammed into every moment.
And it's all so good.
Yeah. So we've covered a lot of the stuff about the intro already, but Rathalos from the Discord has a question. What did you think of the baby? You know the one? I assume he's talking about Rose, right? What do you guys think
Yeah,
about
yeah,
Rose?
about Rose. Absolutely.
Best baby model I've ever seen in a video game.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I honestly wanted to just sing her a lullaby. Very precious.
I'll be honest, I tried to put her in the pot that Mia was cooking in, but it was,
What the fuck, Tyler?
I'm just saying.
Wow.
You don't understand? This baby
I
is
swear
diseased.
to God, go back. If you go on my personal Twitch channel, go to the first Resident Evil 8 stream I did. I'm pretty sure I say, let's see what happens if I put this baby in this pot. I'm going to boil this baby.
Jesus.
And it does not happen.
Well, good.
There's
That's
also
why Chris takes the baby away.
There's also
Friends-
a little
friends
baby
don't let-
like cartoon show on, and I turned the TV on. I don't know if you guys did this. You could turn the TV on.
I didn't turn the TV
Oh,
on.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, there's a little kids show that comes on. It's like a rabbit in an airplane flying through a city, and like another little animal creature shows up, and they're like flying. And I sat there for like a good 5 minutes. I was like, I'm sure that something interesting is going to happen here. I just kept
Awesome.
going.
Well, see, like Control did that, and it delivered
Yeah.
in those ways. So like it that's awesome. I didn't know that. I did
Yeah.
definitely like spent some time exploring everywhere.
Yeah,
But
that
I
house
didn't-
was, and I don't
a great
know if
space.
we've talked about it yet, but environment designs
Yeah.
so fucking amazing. Like the
Very
way that
good.
that house was so like well done, and like you could tell it was lived in. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was
And
great.
it felt like a very lived-in space. Like I
Yeah.
really enjoyed
Very.
it.
It reminded me of Uncharted 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
not to spoil anything there, but the end of that game.
Yeah.
It was great.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely can
totally.
imagine
The
that.
amount of effort that went into these 10 minutes or whatever of the game is pretty
Yeah,
astounding.
it's crazy. It's wild.
Mia and Ethan's relationship is pretty clearly very strained. The way she snaps about her memory when he like is telling her not to read that terrible story. I think that's interesting. I wonder if that's going to come more into play, because then you get another scene like at the very end before you wake up at the car crash, where like Mia says something about like we're important too. Like there's some kind of doctor appointment or something for Rose. It sounds like. And then Ethan says she'll be fine. What else matters? And Mia says we matter, and they're about to have a conversation about it, but then work calls and he has to take the work call.
And he wakes up to the phone call. On that private line.
The classic, we're about to have a big plot reveal conversation, but a call has happened and I've got to take it.
Yeah.
We'll get to this in about 4 hours.
Well, I'll see you later at the end of the game where a big twist will happen.
I do
Yeah,
think it's
and-
interesting because they don't really bring it up a lot at the very beginning, but like they are concerned about Rose and like how she may be infected with whatever
Yeah.
Mia was infected with, and like you can find all kinds of documents.
One of the collectibles.
Yeah,
Is
you
her
can
health
find-
chart, basically.
Yep. You can find all kinds of documents about like them going to the doctor and like just the strained relationship, as Chris mentioned, between Mia and Ethan. And I'm excited to see if that has a payoff. The last
House
game.
B was definitely starting to tease that.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be the crux of the story is
Mm-hmm.
what were the results of all those tests and what were the findings,
Yeah. So I also another fun line. I don't know if it's fun, but when Chris is taking the baby and Ethan's like, "No, you can't steal Rose." Chris is just like, "Ethan, no." Like he's a
Ethan,
bad dog. No, bad Ethan.
Bad dog.
My baby.
Bad dog, sit. Who told you could talk, weak protagonist?
I don't know, man. He reattached his fucking arm,
Yeah. So is
Are we all on the same page about that? Like we all know why that is happening, right? It's because of the stuff that happened to him in Resident Evil 7.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
like he was supposedly like cured then or whatever, but he obviously still has some part of it in him because
Yeah, he got infected by whatever strain that was, but cured. But that there might be like some sort of like lingering side effect.
So
mutation.
I've listened to some other podcasts in the meantime, and people have brought up that there is some kind of notice in 7 about like the health tonic that they use, and it does have some kind of ridiculous regenerative capacity to it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, I guess, canon that shit is like ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think like it's a combination of a couple things, at least. Like what you're dealing with super regenerative stuff that was like specifically depicted in 7 with the Bakers, and how they
Ethan
kind of
is
heal.
injected with it.
Right, but like cured of it, but that doesn't mean that there isn't still potential impact in his physique in some way, because dude straight up is getting fingers and chomped off. Also, if you notice, how many fingers does he have?
whoa, I actually didn't notice that. That's cool.
He has 8 fingers.
Yep.
And yeah, it's so like they're constantly teasing that kind of stuff, and tongue-in-cheek humor with that too. But hi.
Hello.
It feels like they're
wow.
laying it on pretty thick for his like superhuman capacity.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
there's something there for sure.
It's interesting the like first aid stuff. Like he can reattach his hand or whatever, but he can't like grow back those fingers because I guess you have to
Exactly.
have the fingers.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were eaten technically. So
Yeah, he should have cut open that wolf, gotten those fingers back.
Yeah,
could you imagine? Holy shit! Could you imagine?
That would have actually been a pretty weird.
His stomach open is like, I will put these fingers back on.
Let me go find some first aid stuff real quick, and I'll put these back on. Just
Hold on.
shove in my
Can't
pocket.
wait to.
I
to
got
read
this.
Ethan's-
Got this joint in ethanol. I'll be right back.
Can't wait to read Ethan's Twitter where he's just like, I just lost my hand, guys, but it's okay, and then shows another photo. It's just back on.
No mark whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, is Ethan working for Umbrella at this point because he's getting military training from Chris, who was working for Umbrella at the end of 7, and Chris helped them relocate and everything. Is that what do you think is going on?
So, yeah.
I guess I would imagine at that point that would be the chain is that
but like the reestablished Umbrella, right? The new
Well, yeah, but they don't seem like very good guys anymore to me right now.
I mean, no corporation has ever rebranded and then
true.
not changed their unethical actions, right? I don't think
That's
ever happened.
true. Yeah, corporations are mostly ethical. I think is what we're
That's
getting
right.
at.
and our friends.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
If
Ethan's
Umbrella-
great.
If Umbrella wasn't so ethical, would they be giving away the COVID vaccine for free? I don't think so.
That's right.
Oh my god. So yeah, like we talked about, you crash in the forest here. I like this section a lot. This
too.
section of like getting to the village itself. There's a lot of.
I was fucking terrified, dude.
It's really it's really scary because you're not sure when the game is actually gonna like start. You know, when you're gonna start facing enemies and stuff. So there's all this
You just
ambient
hear-
noise.
Yep.
Yeah, you feel like you're about to get
shadows.
attacked, but if you've played the section before, you know I'm not going to get attacked. I'm fine. And if you're walking through it really fast, because when I was trying to record that intro and failed, I was going really quickly through it. You can actually like catch the feet of a lichen running in front of you and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I really like this section. This was really building tension for me. I jumped when you go into one of the houses and like the lichen, or there's like something quote unquote moving up above. And
Is that
like,
happening at
it's
your
just-
house right now?
No. Well, Jasper wants to go outside. Hi, buddy. You're looking at me with puppy dog eyes. Yeah. So I was like, oh, like I didn't expect.
It was
movement to
very
be
creepy.
upstairs.
Like the tension that they build there, especially like when you start to see, was it ravens or something, hanging down, and you kind of walk through that. Very reminiscent of the intro to RE7, walking behind.
literally
the swamp.
ravens being hanged.
Yeah.
And then
And
one of them
gutted.
starts flapping around and screeching.
Yeah, that shit was like not cool.
Great jump
I didn't
scare.
like that. I didn't appreciate
I like
that.
I appreciate it.
Just send a letter to Capcom. Hey,
Yeah.
not cool, man. Not
Yeah,
cool.
I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you include that baby in there, because that was not cool.
baby?
Rose,
Rose.
obviously. Not a
Obviously.
cool baby. She needs some shades.
Yeah, Rose, you're fucking lame. You need to smoke cigarettes and get tattoos.
Yeah, there's a really great shot when you come out of the forest and you first see the village. This is after like
Yes.
hanging out in that
This
house.
is
Yeah, go
this
ahead.
is like a take your screenshot moment right here. This is like this is
We all
Capcom
take
being like,
screenshots
all
there?
right, everybody, get your lackluster photo mode out now because we're gonna be taking screenshots.
Yeah, that shot of like the village and the castle in the background is just fucking gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that'll probably be repeated a lot throughout this, but this game is fucking beautiful.
It is.
I was
Beautiful.
honestly expecting a title drop.
Yeah,
that
right?
cinematic.
Oh, that'd have been.
Oh, that
Chef's
would have
kiss.
been great.
Oh,
That would-
yeah.
that- I've been playing this on PS5 and it's really pretty.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'm not much one for graphics or anything like that, but I mean, it's hard to deny this game looks great on a PS5.
Now you have a PS5, and now it's like these graphics are pretty good.
Yeah, it was worth that $800 bundle that I got on GameStop. Yep,
That's right.
that's right. Take that, scalpers. I'm the winner here, clearly.
You are. You get to play video games.
I think GameStop
Kinda,
is
yeah.
the real winner.
Yeah,
Probably.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Another great
Depends on
corporation. that's
depends on
never
how
done
high up the ladder you at.
That's right.
Yeah. The only problem I had with this little section is it feels like it's going to be annoying on replays, and I do plan to replay this game. I replay all the Resident Evil games, and there's always those little sections, like the Sherry section RE2 remake, where it's like, this is great the first time you do it, and it's just something you have to push through the second time and beyond.
Yeah.
There is
I-
a part of that for sure.
I already know, like my like a lot of us know Marvel, and he's already gotten this game down to like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, or something like that. He's done like a few different playthroughs, and this game I think already seems like, because there's a lot of encounters where you can just run away and you like you get it, like you don't have to fight everyone. Actually, most of the time you're in true Resident Evil spirit, you are not encouraged to fight all the enemies because it's just kind of you
save
can
ammo
do
and
that on
stuff.
yeah, you can do that on standard, but I'm sure if you're on hardcore like Rob is, you probably shouldn't be fighting everything.
Well,
Yeah.
honestly, outside of that first section, I have had no qualms
Well,
killing
here's
shit.
the thing, right? Is
Gotcha.
as you get farther into the game, the enemies become more abundant, and as you kill them, you can farm them for shit that you can sell, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
So
true.
then you can just go to the Duke and constantly sell shit,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
the amount of
and
money that
buy
you get
stuff.
is ridiculous.
yeah. I like
just a
that.
ridiculous amount of money.
I like that enemies drop things when you kill them. It's like a Resident Evil 4 thing as well, and like a Dead
Totally.
Space
Yes.
and Evil Within. I missed that in the last Resident
It
Evil game.
encourages you to participate in combat if you want
Yep.
to. That's great. It's a smart
Yeah.
choice.
A lot of this game is just a big shout out to RE4, which I mean that's
Totally.
pretty much my #1 Resident Evil game, so I'm happy for that.
It's
Resident
great.
Evil 5.
5's
sorry,
your
what was
number one
that?
Resident Evil game? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is that what?
5 is amazing. Love that game.
Okay.
Shiba,
It's good.
Shiba.
That's the take.
Moving on.
Hey, we don't do this podcast because I say smart things. We do this
That's accurate.
Hey, I love the co-op. I say
yeah, it's great.
It is
that-
fun.
That's when you do co-op. That game's like easy 4 out of 5 for me.
That's why it's one of my favorite Resident Evils.
Yeah,
And
and
my best
Without a friend, it too.
And as soon as we beat it, we started up another one, and he played as Chris, and I played as Shiba, and it was great.
Awesome. Did you ever play the DLC for that? There's a DLC with like fixed camera angles. That's really cool.
No, but I did remember when that came out. But by that point, I'd beat it like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, I'm good. I fought Wesker and a volcano enough. I get it.
It was definitely way scarier than anything in the.
I can only kill him so many times with that
Yeah.
volcano.
I can only knock him into a fucking lava pit and fly away in a helicopter so many times. So.
I think this whole intro leading from that crash and getting into the house, meeting the old man, and him giving you a gun, like it's so well paced.
Yeah.
Because it really builds that tension really well. And like you go down to the basement, like it's still pitch black outside. You go down to the basement, you hear scuffling and shuffles outside and above. Go upstairs, and then like you get daytime, like or dawn basically, and then you get that vista, and you continue down through into the village, and you go into that house and you meet that guy, and like you almost get shot in the face with a shotgun.
That guy, that old man is a terrible shot, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
is.
Also,
Yeah.
probably not using buckshot because like any degree to the left, you'd be missing more than your ear.
Yeah.
I mean, just the worst shot.
Real
Yeah,
quick, but
I honestly, once I stepped into the house and he missed me, I was like, dude, what the fuck? How did you miss? You think you're gonna hit
I'm
fucking
standing
lycanthrope
fucking 2
and you
feet away
goddamn
from
miss
you.
me? Like,
yeah. Before you even get in that house, there's a little house that you come back to later to actually explore. It's weird because the rooms will be red, but you can't actually grab anything yet. But in one of the trailers, you see like a wolf standing over, or like in whatever. I'm gonna keep calling the wrong thing. I'm sorry, hardcore Resident Evil
okay.
fans.
I won't hold it against you.
Like standing over that ripped up couch in the corner. So I was like super scared because I remembered this house from that trailer, and I was like, I'm gonna run into an enemy and I have nothing to use against it. But that, like, because you come back to the village so many times throughout the game, like, I don't think it's been there yet still. It will presumably be there at some point.
Yeah, and I mean, like, literally as you're going through, I remember coming through this place the second time with that iron insignia gate on my way back through, because it's like a similar spot to, like, we'll get to later, but the red chimney house you need to go into. This is like a similar part of that section.
Oh yeah,
And
I explored that very heavily in that section.
yeah, and it's like going through it, it's really clever that like you start to notice things, and it's part of what I appreciate about multiple playthroughs as well, because I went back and did like this first hour again, so I started to note things and had more familiarity with the map, and started like, oh yeah, that's right, I come back here. And it is really good at signposting those things with like very good map in general, something it learned from RE, like Resident Evil games in general, but like RE2 Remake in particular, was the red to blue transition once you've got everything, and they add the little wrinkle of the little shinies that you shoot down, the little crystals.
Okay, but 90% of those things super suck. Like, I hate hunting for them. I do anyway, because I can't stand leaving a room red. But I mean, especially, we'll get to the roof later, but the one on the roof that's like on the side of the tower and you have to be standing
I would not
up
have gotten that
next
if
to it
Chris
to
was
see
not
it.
helping me out through stream. Because
Some of them are.
He watched me. I was like, I'm trying to clear this shit out. And then on top of that, Dimitrescu was fucking follow me all over the place.
Yep.
And Chris
I
watched,
said-
Chris
I
watched
said
a lot
fuck
of
it
that.
to
That
the-
was not a good time for me.
Look, eventually I said fuck it to the roof. I got a bunch of stuff off there, and I was pretty happy, and Dimitrescu was hot on my heels, and I
The
do
only
hot.
reason I did is because Chris was there on stream,
Yeah.
helping me out.
I was just so confused, and I'm like, this tall lady is not going to leave me alone. You know what? Let's just get to this fight that I know that's going to happen. So
Yeah, the trade-off with that, I think, is that if you want to spend the time, you can totally like pixel hunt essentially, but also 99% of the time, if your room is still red, it's just because of a gem, and
Yeah.
those are only
Yeah.
worth what, like 2,000.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's not huge, but
Those
like,
add up over time.
well, right. But my point is more that like you're still gonna be getting rewarded for participating in the game. Those types of things just help expedite it a little bit, but
Yeah, for sure.
you're probably not gonna miss literally every single gem you encounter.
Yeah.
Um,
I just
unless
really
like
want those
you.
weapon upgrades, you know. That's like
Oh, for sure.
I think that's the big reason why I'm like I want to try to find every valuable just because I want to get my weapons upgraded all the way. I want every weapon upgraded all the way.
and that's what I did was
That's the incentive because I don't give a shit about anything else. I don't care about the mods or anything. I just want my base weapons upgraded all the way.
You should give a shit about some of those mods. I'm just saying.
yeah, some
They're
was pretty
helpful.
good. But point being is like when I got to the point where I'm experienced with Resident Evil games, so I know that like especially like Resident Evil 4, like I can upgrade stuff, but I will be getting things that are different versions and upgraded versions of those, like a different pistol or a different shotgun.
Yeah.
And I saved most of my money until I got the sniper rifle, and I mean, this game's a really good system in regard to that, where you can sell the stuff that you have and then still repurchase it later on if you want.
yes, I noticed that as well.
And I love that. It's
Yep.
an incredible call because you shouldn't punish your player for participating in your game that way. I think that
I was
games that do that
very
suck.
happy when I sold my original pistol because I found the new and improved one, or the one, or it depends on your play style, right?
Right.
But I found the one with a much faster, higher. It was like a semi-automatic or whatever. I don't know guns.
Yeah, the M1 911 or something like that. Is that what the
Yeah.
pistol is?
And then I sold it, and I was like, okay, like I'm a little nervous about this because this is a risk. Like, what if I hate this gun? And of course, it's great. But I was looking in the inventory later on. I'm like, oh shit, my gun's right there. Like I could just buy it back.
Yeah,
Great.
the Duke even tells you, but the first time you say your gun is like, if ever you want to buy it, you can repurchase. Kind of a
Wow.
Oh, you did the voice
act
acting.
Duke?
Yeah,
That was amazing.
wow.
Yeah, that's good.
sorry, habit from streaming.
Wait a second, Rob. I think I remember seeing someone's name in the credit. No, okay.
But
I
he,
can't come on speed dial. I'd like to play the Duke again, please. Duke for one.
Hey, did you all get that line from the Duke where
Yes.
he said, "What are you buying?" And he went,
Oh, yeah.
just something an old friend of mine used to say." I was like, "Yes, the
Yeah.
goat."
They
All
get
the
it.
References. Love
They
it.
get
I'm
it.
saying it's so self-aware. It's so fucking
It's so
good.
so. I showed my partner Resident Evil 4 for the first time like months and months ago, and she really enjoyed the game, mostly watching me because it's not her genre at all, but she enjoyed watching me play. And I've been RE4 so many times, and yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. I was like, when we got to the merchant, I was like, Kim, get ready to meet a legend. And she was like, who, this guy? And I was like, yeah,
Thank
this
you.
guy.
Has she watched you play any of the others at all, or was it just?
Yeah,
RE4?
she watched me play Resident Evil 2 remake, which is a bit more scary. So she jumped a few times definitely, and then I think she watched me play RE3 the RE3 remake as well. But yeah, she enjoys watching me play those games. She does not enjoy playing those games herself.
Similar to Jess.
Yeah, you need to stream RE7 or RE8 and have her sit there with you. I had my wife sit with me for the section of Bienvenido's house.
Oh, no. So I have a great when we
was
get
great.
to Beneviento, oh my god, I have such a discussion about how Kim, my partner, and I reacted to Beneviento because it is a story and a half. I'm excited for when we talk about it. It's such a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you like you guys said, well, before you even get your gun, you get your hand bit off, which is,
No, you get this bit off.
well, yeah, you get you get the important fingers clearly.
He just
bit
he
off.
becomes the predator after that.
Which he is surprisingly like proficient at still using all of his weapons, missing two fingers. Like his
Well, it's not
military
his
training
right
trained
hand,
him.
at the
Well,
very
yeah,
least.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
that
There's a lot of
military
two-handed
training.
weapons.
you know what's super weird about that though is he gets two of his fucking fingers bit off. He wraps it up and he's like, "I'm gonna keep going." doesn't try to find anybody for help. He's just like, I'm gonna keep
Well,
going.
He doesn't even try to
does-
find his fucking fingers.
He does
Yeah.
try to find someone for help, and then does, and then what happens?
That
Gets
person
yanked
dies.
into an attic.
That's true.
And then what happens after that? He finds someone else, a woman and her dad, and then the dad turns into. It goes bad.
We will get.
I know.
I
I'm
have
just
a lot
saying.
to say
He
about
looks
that
for
area.
people. He is
Yeah.
looking for people, and every time he hits his hand, why do they keep dying on me?
He's looking for people in all the wrong places. I'm telling you.
So yeah, talking about the Lemmy, such a weak pistol. I mean, you have to start with the weakest pistol possible, obviously, but it's super sucks. And if you bought I don't know if it's just for pre-ordering or if it was specifically for the digital deluxe, you get the like samurai edge gun like you do in most of the newer Resident Evil games. And I'm glad that they toned it down for this one, because in a lot of them it's like I can use this weapon for
It's
the entire
broken.
game, and it's so ridiculously powerful.
It's broken
Yeah.
the entire game. Yep.
But in this one, it's like it's as strong as the Lemmy with like each thing upgraded by 1. So it's useful for the castle, and that's about it. And you can't upgrade it at all, so you have to basically throw
Oh,
it
that
away at
seems
that
pretty
point.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you a leg up for the first like 2 hours.
Yeah.
See, I'm such a sucker for the first pistol. It's like I just want to keep that baby with me till the end of the game, because it's like, oh,
that's
this
fair.
is started from the bottom. Now we here. You know what I'm saying?
Tyler's in a committed relationship. He's
right.
good.
Yeah, you definitely like you can always use the starting weapon through. I mean, you can use a knife throughout the entire game if you're good enough.
Yeah.
In most of the game.
Shoot the
I'm not-
kneecaps, stab in the face.
I'm not a Rambo
That's
kind
right.
of guy.
Suplex them into the ground.
Hell
That's
yeah.
all my thing.
That's how I had so much ammo at the end of RE2.
I really did
kneecap.
try shooting one of the skeleton guys, because I was like, okay, can I suplex them? Can I kick them? Can I do anything
know,
like
right?
RE4?
I
I
really
tried.
wish they had that, but he is
It
not
doesn't
that
happen.
military trained.
But
Yeah.
it's a they don't want to show off Ethan's model, and I mean I agree. I've seen pictures of Ethan. I'm good on seeing
He's
that.
just so
honestly.
generic.
He's such a El Generico is less generic than that man.
Yeah. You do get like a kick if you guard and then you push L1 again.
Yeah, you
kick,
can
but it's
shift
not
back,
like a
which is
big
useful.
animation. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh
like,
really? I didn't know that. I'm
need
so
to-
bad at guarding. I was bad about it in RE7. I'm bad about it in
I
this
have
game,
not
too.
used it once. I do not
So
care.
this
Very
is
useful.
this is a fun point to
how's
delineate
it going, Mr.
between
Dark Souls?
difficulties. That is an invaluable tool. Blocking, especially like blocking and then the pushback.
Yeah.
Because especially for the first section, which I guess is a good time to get to, for when after you meet the homie who gets yanked up into the attic and you get pulled down to the basement, a
R.I.P.
dead body, more, and you continue along through. You get into that spot where they like start
Love
swarming
this
your
part.
hut, and you pull the dresser in front of it, and then they just start swarming all the different windows and shit. And you can kind of extend it by popping them a little bit, and then they break in, and then you go outside, and then that's where you get this incredibly tedious section on hardcore where you have
Real-
probably
Real quick, because we have a question on this. I'm going to read that real quick because
Oh,
it's
for
going
sure.
right into what you're about to say. Crypto Zookeeper wrote in asking, what difficulty are you each playing on, and what walls, difficulty-wise, have you hit in your playtime so far? I started the game on hardcore and found the initial Lycan encounters to be tough as nails, and I also had a surprisingly tough time the first time I had to fight one of Lady D's daughters due to the small room and wide attack range she had. That being said, it taught me the importance and effectiveness of blocking. And aside from the constantly monitoring my ammo, it was smooth sailing throughout the rest of the game all the way up to the final boss. Thank you, Crypto,
Yeah.
for writing in.
absolutely. Shout out to Crypto Zookeeper. That man rules.
Chris, you the
Fellow
best.
Chris.
Yeah.
better.
One of the triumvirate Chris's.
That's right. We have the Triforce of Chris's.
Go listen to Hello Hyrule, they rock. But so yeah, you start it. I mean, it literally like is one of the tutorial prompts. Block, and then you start to see like because if you don't, you get grappled and chomped on. But if you block right beforehand, rather than take a third to half of your health, it's just a nick. And then you can kick him off, shoot him in the kneecap, stun him, stab him a couple times in the head if you need to, if you're trying to be ammo conservative, or stun him to shoot him in the head. But this part in particular is rough on hardcore because part of the difficulty in this encounter is you need to survive for an indeterminate period of time. And when you have 10 to 15 lichens chasing you everywhere you go, you'll be dying constantly. But if you experiment a little, or like if you're patient enough is really what it requires to die enough. And the footage that'll probably be playing in the background of this is kind of an example of that. Like you'll see from the start, I kind of know where I'm going to get the shotgun, and I know where things are placed, but that's because I did that route like 10 to 15 times my first time through, because I'm trying to figure out, okay, if I go here, oh shit, there's a dude down here, I die. Okay, and so very much like you joke, but like there is a Dark Souls element to it of like being patient, figuring out, okay, this is where they're going to start spawning, this is where they're going to chase me to, this is where an item is, and you start figuring out all of your little touchstones to survive. And it becomes like a fun section to survive, but up until that point it is a slog and really hinders the pacing.
Yeah.
So Rob, would you say that you weren't liking that section? Is that
no,
fair?
and I got the achievement for it too. Literally said that.
I love that.
I do too.
I had a very, very interesting. So the requirement for the section, if you all don't know, is apparently I've heard is to just kill one lichen. That's all you have to do is just kill one, and it doesn't matter what lichen.
I feel like I killed way more than one in that section.
That's just what I've heard. Maybe they're wrong. I don't know. But
I like 5.
I ran around that section so fucking much.
I got so lost. I got turned around. I got back into a corner. I was so sure I was gonna. And I'm on standard, by the way. I was so sure I was gonna die. I was terrified. I'm like, I'm almost out of bullets. I've done everything I can. Sort of using flour as a smoke screen, which is kind of cool. I never used it, but it was a cool idea.
It's very useful.
Yeah, and I just as like I'm about to die, I like quickly kill one of them, and then the cutscene happens, and I'm like, my heart's pounding, and I'm like, oh my god, am I not dying? And then as all the lichens fucking leave, and Ethan doesn't say anything, it's perfect. I just say out loud, where's everybody going? Bingo. It was great. I felt good about myself in that one.
Yeah. It's definitely like it's a hardcore Resident Evil 4 reference. Like it's that first village section of Resident Evil 4 where you feel very overwhelmed. There's no way in hell you're going to kill all these guys. You're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? You're just running around, and then they all leave.
I can't speak to hardcore. I'm sure it's more frustrating there, especially for first-time players. But on standard, I loved it. Like it set the tone for the whole game, and my heart was pounding. I was so sure I was going to die. I thought that was one of my favorite sections of the game, honestly.
No, I'll be clear. Like, I still really enjoyed it. It's just one of those, like, this is more of a caveat, like, buyer beware. If you're, like, you have to know what you're signing up for with hardcore, and it will require patience. But
especially because a lot of people, I heard reviews and big YouTubers were saying, like, oh, hardcore is the way to go about this game. And I saw that, and I'm like, I mean, maybe for some people, but I don't want to risk it. Right. Like, maybe if I enjoy this game enough and I want to play it again, sure, absolutely, I'll play it on hardcore. But I'm not risking that. Like, that seems like such a big risk, especially because in Resident Evil you can't change the difficulty once you start playing.
But some of the other ones you can if you die enough times. Like, want to put on assist mode and shift that? And like Chris was playing Resident Evil 2 make with Chris or Claire's story, and like died a couple times. Like, no, I fucking hate when the game.
I also hated it. I was like, no game, I'm just figuring out how to do this. I'll be fine. Give me a second.
The worst. I can't remember a specific example, but the worst is when that type of thing happens in a game and the auto position for your cursor is on yes. When you're trying to skip through it and you hit yes, you're like, God damn it. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
But so, like, I have a path, and like you say, it's just killing the first lichen. Oh, it definitely isn't, because
it's different on hardcore. Or Tyler, were you not playing on hardcore?
No, I'm also playing on standard. This is probably the most frustrating part of the game for me, because it's just not any clarification on what the fuck you need to do, and I ran around that area that it gave me, forever. Probably a good 20 minutes.
I know the loop of that area and how to survive because of how many times I died.
It honestly just seemed like maybe you just needed to take damage. I honestly...
I still don't know, and I definitely agree with you. There could have been more clarity, but what the hell? Even a character line or I don't know, something.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
And so there was one other. It's a mild, minor critique with this, and you mentioned like on multiple playthroughs, like something that can bog down pacing, is after that first encounter in the house where you get boarded up, and then Ethan says, "Is it over?" And then you hear the radio broadcast. You have to wait by the front door and wait for it to push open. Every time you die, I go right up to the door. I have to wait like 5 seconds minimum
Oh, that sucks.
to just wait in front of the door for it to trigger, and like then he does the cutscene activate, push open the door.
Okay,
And
that
it's like
sucks.
it's a tiny thing, but I feel like it's a checkpoint that's right before that, and so you have to keep waiting like 5 seconds every time you die to push open the door to continue your run.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the worst part of it, because once you get the loop down, like, okay, I went into the building, went through, grabbed the shotgun, dropped down, like put the flower, dropped down, went underneath, went to the house, barricaded the door, waited for him to get in, shot the barrel, went up on the roof, dropped down, wait for them to come to another barrel. Like I had a loop that I started to get them, and I killed probably like 10 of them. Like at one particular barrel, when they first get in, I waited for him to come into that room, blew up like 5 of them, go up the ladder, wait for a couple to climb up, drop down, go to another barrel, blow up like 3, picking up like chem fluid as I can, or like lay as I find it, and then run past another one, drop down a cliff. And so I was, and like shot a couple on the way with shotguns that got out my way so I could clear a path, and got hit multiple times.
And the cutscene just it
Takes forever. It's like 10 minutes,
what
15
is that?
minutes.
I
Yeah,
wonder if
there's-
it's a survival thing. Then
There has to be like a trigger, and I'm sure people have found it by now. If they haven't, they
Like,
will soon.
Yeah,
For the sake of speed runs,
guarantee
if
it.
nothing else.
yeah, for sure.
But
But like you're not going to know that the first couple
Yeah.
times through.
I-
For sure.
I mean, maybe this was a good thing in retrospect, because it seems like it really sucked for you, Tyler, and you, Rob. But this was spoiled for me on the Game Informer show like a month and a half ago when they got a preview that like this section was a
Okay.
survive for a little while and then a cutscene will happen. So I think it would have been more effective if I didn't know that was happening, but it may have just been really frustrating. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did not enjoy it. This is my least favorite part of the game.
It
was very frustrating.
it's
It's
I will
you
say
don't
the
know what to
lowest
do.
yeah, it's the lowest like it is the greatest hard most head-banging wall difficulty spike, especially on hardcore, but I still like pushed past it, overcame it, and then since then it's I'm not gonna say it's I echo what Chris or Crypto Zookeeper said, was like it's not that I've been coasting, but it feels perfect difficulty wise. Everything else feels perfectly fine-tuned. It's just that one specific encounter, and then I think beyond that, what other people are saying is like, oh yeah, hardcore's kind of the perfect difficulty. I kind of agree so far.
Yeah,
Because it
Okay.
feels tense.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
kind of like answer Crypto's question, like I really have not hit much of a wall, so maybe I probably should be playing on hardcore realistically, because I haven't died on standard yet.
Right.
I've died once. I died
don't
once.
think
I don't
I
even
died
remember
either.
where it was. It was very early on, and I think I just didn't know what I was doing. But besides that, I've literally not died once. I've come maybe a little bit close. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I agree with Chris. Resident Evil fans who are a long time should probably be playing on hardcore.
Mhm.
I just didn't want to risk it. Because,
Oh, for sure.
And I totally get why other people would, but like for
And,
me,
yeah.
I was like, if other people are wrong about this, I'm gonna be so pissed, and I'm not gonna want to, you know.
And
just gonna
that's
ruin
one of those things that like I should reiterate and state that like like if you want to play this game on casual, please play this game on casual. I highly recommend
Yeah,
still
for
doing
sure.
that if that's what you're comfortable with. I've been playing games since I was like 3 or 4 years old, and like my first video game was Mega Man 2, and so I'm used to like beating my head against a wall for stuff. And I love
Yeah.
Dark Souls games and going and doing that. That is a fun challenge for me to kind of like perfect that. But everyone plays games differently, and if standard is where you want to start, and like then try it on hard, because this game is perfect for replays. I highly encourage
Yeah,
that.
And from what I understand, this game encourages replays through
Yes.
certain weapons and perks, and like Resident Evil 3 make, right? That's why speedruns with Resident Evil 3 make became such a huge deal, because people, not only can you beat that game in like less than an hour, Well, if you're one of the top runners, because I for a little while I considered running 3 because I like it that much, and also because it's already a short game, so I considered it. But anyway, I looked into the speedrunning scene. It's like less than an hour with some of the top times, and it's like, yeah, it encourages speedruns because you unlock certain guns and ability. I'm sure we all know this, but certain guns and perks and stuff like that as you do better and
Unlimited
better
ammo.
times. Yeah, it just builds upon itself, right? So every run is just better,
Mercenaries mode. Oh, I can't wait.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait either.
Mercenaries mode. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in the next episode.
But
Okay.
one last thing to close up on that thing, put a pin in it. Part of what's helped me, I think, is also because I'm playing on PC with mouse and keyboard. I am able to be a lot more accurate. I spent like 10 minutes dialing in what felt right, and I'm able to actually pull off. I'm able to be relatively good with my ammo conservation in general, and like pick my shots.
This is a totally separate topic, but Tyler, I'm very curious about your thoughts about the woman and the guy who turns into the lycanthrope, because I think we touched on the house a little bit, but we didn't really talk about it. I thought you said you had something or a few things to say.
What was it?
Oh, for when we encounter the daughter and father.
We haven't gotten that.
Yeah,
far
we haven't
yet.
got to
I mean,
that
we
yet.
can talk about it right now.
I thought we got there. We've been
Oh,
jumping
no,
around so
we
much.
are
We've been
very-
on. We're going slow, guys. It's okay.
Yeah, we gotta. Get going.
We're doing great. I think this is great content. So you get into like this is the part of the village, whatever in here is the demo section. This is what was in the village demo when you actually enter the village proper, and you run to
That's
the
a
old
big
lady.
ass demo.
Yeah,
It's a big demo.
It's all right.
it
like 30
provides you plenty of like toys and
Yeah,
shelter.
I mean that seems like a very healthy amount of stuff.
Well, I mean, it starts right here and goes until the end of the house area.
Until you come back and go into the castle.
Yeah.
But which is
Essentially,
still
yeah.
like a good sized chunk.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, it's an
chunk.
okay chunk. So you run into the old lady here, who we've run into a couple times, and she's like helping Ethan, but she's cackling maniacally the whole time and speaking in riddles.
The absolute moron that that Ethan is. That Ethan is. He's like, oh, poor old woman, are you okay? She's got like this big fucking get the fuck out stick, and like she's got this hood up her, and she's like cackling like an evil lady, and he's like, oh, you look like you need help crossing the street. I'm like, Ethan, my dude.
She literally like acknowledges your child being here, and you're like, what? She's here? Like, my dude, she's not your friend.
Yeah. God, I don't remember if it was you, Tyler, when I played the demo. I think maybe you were in chat. I know someone was in chat and said that they thought the old lady might be Mother Miranda, which we still have not seen them in the same place.
No,
They have
but
similar vibes.
I do think that. Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
After
mean,
the
it
way
could
Resident
be-
Evil
it
7
could be
played
a-
out, anybody could be Mother Miranda at this point.
Some Resident Evil 7 spoilers here, but it could be another grandma situation.
Yeah, no, totally. And
Putting
like
the
this
villain in
is
front of you.
we can get to like speculation toward the end of how we think it's gonna end, but I think part of me would love if she plays a big role, but I would also equally love if she was like almost completely irrelevant
Yeah,
otherwise.
just a weird old lady.
Yeah, they're just showing up. You're
lady.
like, who the
She's
fuck
just
was
vibing.
that?
She's just
Exactly.
vibing.
She's just vibing in her village.
Vibing.
She's just vibing a very occult. It's just like subtitles, like vibing in a very occult.
She actually
way.
doesn't even live in that village. She just lives in a village like.
She lives
She's
in a
like, I'm
nearby
just
village.
here on a tour. I love touring Europe.
They're like, you don't even live here. Get out of here.
Staring at the Airbnb.
So beyond, like, after you save in the church, this was my favorite part of the demo, either of the demos, and it's still one of my favorite things, is this little section with, on standard anyway, it's 3 wolves. That I'm sure they add more on higher difficulties. You can speak to that in a second, Rob. But I love how scary this section is, for me anyways. It's very scary despite it being broad daylight, just not being able to see the enemies at all in this wheat field, and they're just making, like, rummaging noises, but they're far enough down that you have to get pretty close before you can get a shot off and like get their attention, and then I sprint back to somewhere where I can fucking see shit.
Yeah. It was very effective, very good use of environment to differentiate this encounter from the previous one.
Oh yeah.
So you still feel like you actually stand a chance because there aren't fucking thousands of lichens, but like the wheat field makes it be like, oh geez, there's only 3 of them, but still. So I did try to stealth past them, but I fucked up and I got caught. I had to fight them. I ran away after I killed 2 of them, but yeah, I left one of them.
Yeah, the tension that they build there, just like constantly looking over your shoulder, like Jeepers Creepers style, going through the corn, just waiting for a monster to pop out. I love that. That was
Hearing
like
shuffles from every
very,
direction.
very good. And the sound design there, especially if you're playing with headphones, it's just like amazing. Just like hearing it all around you.
Yeah, I keep thinking, like, every time I come to one of these, come back to the village and I come to, like, a field like that, I keep thinking one of the scarecrows is just going to be a lichen and it's going to jump on me and it's going to be the worst
Jeepers
thing ever.
Creepers.
Yeah.
The lichen just shouts, "I have no brain!"
Are there a lot more enemies here, Rob, on hardcore?
I think it's in general the enemy quantity doesn't really increase much, if at all, to my knowledge. It's really just how much it requires to kill them. So how I dealt with this encounter, like I went through and then I had also played the demo, so I was a little bit experienced with.
I don't mean
what
to
do.
cut you off, Rob, but isn't
You're
this
good.
where we get the landmine?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
I still haven't
this
used any
is
of those.
this
I still
is
haven't used any of them.
Oh yeah, they're great.
So yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Is you go into that little shack, you see the sack of flour, and you see a landmine, some ammo, some shotgun ammo. And as I was going through, I saw one of them crouched on the ground, and so I popped him in the back of the head a couple times, took him out pretty quickly. And as I was going through carefully, one like drops from one of the top spots, and then the other one comes in from the side, and so I'm booking it back. And I got that mine, and I tested it out. Like I was like, okay, if I die, totally fine, I'll test it out. Walked over to landmine, didn't blow up. I was like, oh, okay, well this is easy then. And so dropped the landmine near the shack where the flower was, and then just bait him like the other guys to that spot, and then one of them detonated the mine, the other one got hurt but wasn't dead, opened the sack of flour, and then shot the other one, and as I needed to block. But so like that's part of why I appreciate is little encounters like these. They're little puzzles to solve in a way where you can start like it's literally like this is a perfect instance to use a landmine. Yep. Bait them here, use these tools at your disposal, and then you'll overcome and kind of conserve resources. And so landmines are great for another spot we'll get to where there's a garage and a safe combination.
Yeah.
Mines are great there, but you can kind of continue through, but use those tools that it provides for you. Like it's a great tutorial for landmines.
Yeah, I wonder. I've seen like some footage online of that field having like, God, it was like 6 lichens or something popping out. I thought maybe that was hardcore. I wonder if that's Village of Shadow or if that's just when we come back later.
It could be, or if like you round up a couple that you didn't kill from slightly earlier or somewhere and then bait them in that direction. It's totally possible.
We didn't really mention, but you get the shotgun in that section before where you were running away from all the lichens and stuff.
That was a great sledgehammer for getting people out of my way for surviving.
The shotgun is great. It feels amazing. So.
Yeah, it's like at the very end of the section that we get a new shotgun that I haven't really tested out yet, but I really like this one that we've had so far.
Yeah, this one's a classic.
So now we get into, and I'll just let you take this away, Tyler, because you've stated many times you've had a lot to say. We get to the lady and her father injured, and you get into this house.
Yeah, so this is the most ridiculous fucking part of the game for many reasons. No, it's just frustrating, very frustrating, because the whole time, the dad gets bit by one of the wolves, and or gets attacked. I don't think they say if he's bit or not.
His hand.
Yeah, they don't say.
So he was attacked by one of the lichens, and they go into this house. Liza's house. What was her name? Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so she was supposed to be like the head of like this little community or whatever, and you go into her house and like this huge prick meets you out on the front door and like
that
points
drunk
a gun
asshole.
in your face.
Oh no, sorry, yeah. So the other dude who sticks a gun in your face,
he's a huge prick.
That lady's face.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he gets his.
Yeah, sure does. So you go into this house, and it's like all the remaining survivors of this village, and they're all crowded around this table. And like this one lady's crying over her dead husband, and then
All that's left.
yeah,
There's no one left.
and then there's this drunk asshole that's just like
Fuck
talking
that
shit
guy.
to everybody, and then of course Dad turns right in front of everybody and just fucking murders everyone immediately.
So,
And then you got it.
well, I'm just gonna ask. So, are you like alluding to the possibility, like, why didn't you just straight cap her dad right then?
That, but then
That's gotta be a hard conversation
this
to
is the
have.
issue. Then the fucking place catches on fire.
Yeah.
And then, so it catches on fire.
Oh yeah.
And you run away. And he's like, oh, I'll ram it down with this fucking car. That's the only thing in your disposal, a car. Okay,
That's
fine.
a very
I get
powerful truck, my dude.
It. I get it. It's kind of a shitty looking truck.
It's built for tough.
That's
For
right.
tough. Okay.
Shitty looking truck. You ram it into a wall. It doesn't do anything. You back it up, ram it again. I don't think it does anything. It's
No,
the
it
third-
did. Well, it like
This is the
it
second or third
flips
time.
basically.
Yeah, right.
It makes for a good landing pad, so you can get onto the stairs above, and that's it.
I mean, dude's desperate trying to solve a problem.
I get it. But the house is still on fire, mind you. Is the truck still on? Who knows? Exhaust fumes going? Who knows? You climb to the top. House is still on fire, and he sits and has a conversation with this fucking woman for way too long. Mind you, they think the dad is already dead, right? Because you got to shoot the dad. The dad goes, they think he's dead, and they are just standing there talking with the fucking floor on fire underneath them, and they talk for like a good 2 to 3 minutes. Get the fuck out of there! What are you doing?
They're waiting for her father to conveniently draw her back into the
and
flame.
then of course it's like, oh, I can't make it. It's not gonna hold, and then it breaks, and she falls down into the fire with her father, and then he stands there some more and looks at it like, bro, get the fuck out of there. We get it. Your hand can regenerate.
Well,
Get the
so
fuck out of there.
originally, like, she's reluctant to go across the beam, and then she sees her dad, and he says her name, and so she gets to the point, is like, I can't leave my dad. There's something here. I would rather die with him. That was the
Yeah, but
impression
Ethan's
that I
just standing
got.
there. Get the fuck out, bro. The house is
Oh
on
yeah,
fire.
then Ethan's just like straight up dramatic pause
If
on the
we go back to that meeting room scene, I just thought it was funny how every character was like, and look, I'm no expert on this TV show / video game series, but they seem like a big Walking Dead fucking stereotype. You had the guy who's really like kind of like suspicious of outsiders.
Oh,
the
it's a
person who's,
huge
like,
horror trope for sure.
complete emotional mess.
Yep.
The one person who's kind of like a bit of a stickler. The one actual nice person who's definitely not going to live. You know, the main character.
This
and
is
then,
straight up Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
That is exactly what that environment is.
Yeah.
Just how long the house was on fire for, and like the
Oh,
amount
yeah.
of time that he
It's
stood-
absurd.
that he just stood around. I was like so frustrated. I was like, bro, the house is
But-
on fire.
But dude, he's got military training.
Yeah, leave.
He's
Military
fine.
training, man.
You
That-
can
you
stay
survive
around that fire just a little bit
I was
longer.
like, is there no fucking smoke inhalation going on? You're on the second floor, all the smoke's
Tyler,
rising.
Tyler, I'm curious. Did you see that? Did you guess that like none of those people were living? Like I know you avoided everything. So like, did you have any idea what was going to happen next?
No, I had no idea. So
Okay.
it was shocking. It was a cool moment when
Yeah.
the dad turns and fucks everybody in that room up. Thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Daughter
I-
blasts him with
I
a
was
shotgun
yelling
right
at-
in front of you.
I was yelling at Ethan, like, dude, draw your fucking shotgun, draw your
Yeah.
pistol, don't just stand there.
But
What
then
the
it
hell
was
are you doing?
immediately downplayed with the whole, we're going to stand around in this fucking house that's burning down for way too fucking long.
I will say one nice thing is when you are in that hallway with him, with the dad, you and you have your pistol out and you're shooting at him and it's doing like jack shit. The game does not penalize you if
It
you
doesn't-
miss
yeah.
or if it hits. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it doesn't take it, which I thought was very nice.
But I
Yeah,
will
I love
say-
those moments.
When you were sitting around the table with all those people, the fucking way that it is designed is so good.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Man, those are some good looking characters.
And
Yeah.
like the detail when the dad jumps on the roof and like that close up of his
Oh
face,
yeah.
it looks incredible.
Man,
This game looks
the
amazing.
art design is
Yeah.
so good. Ugh.
Yeah,
Um,
the faces, the face textures in particular, are
amazing,
just fantastic. Go
Yeah.
RE
Great,
engine.
great mouthfeel. Great.
Oh
mouthfeel.
yeah, I love the
You
way
can
their mouth
taste
feels.
Oh, Jesus.
Put their mouth on my mouth.
That's right.
Um,
Well,
I,
I'm-
I
I'm
like.
almost vaccinated. They could do it.
Today is actually the first day I'm fully vaccinated. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Now you'll turn into a lichen.
Been
and
2
bite
weeks.
someone's hand.
Hey, yeah, that's right. I'm gonna become a lichen today.
I really like when you're sitting in that room and you do the like prayer with them, where they're like talking about sacrificing to Mother Miranda.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
very
that was
scary
cool.
in a
Yeah.
different way, like very
Cult.
uncomfortable. Like I don't belong here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
Yeah.
cult. Yeah.
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 Super culty. I love, I know a lot of people like want Resident Evil to go back to its roots, or some people are like frustrated that like we're doing werewolves and witches and stuff. But
Just
I'm
keep
like,
going.
I love
I
it.
don't care. Like, yeah, exactly. I love it. I love this campy horror shit. I hope they keep exploring different genres through the lens of Resident Evil, because like all horror at this point is basically like
Well,
hackneyed.
people
or,
can't be
like,
mad
it's
because
some-
you fight like a giant fucking snake in the first one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and a giant fucking shark,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Fucking zombie
Massive
shark,
crocodile.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What are you gonna be mad about? Oh, there's werewolves and shit. There was a giant fucking animal in multiple games.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Who cares?
There are literally zombies trying to kill you.
Yeah.
One guy was infected with the T virus. Look at him.
But yeah, it's like, oh, but it's scientifically explained. It's like,
No, it's not.
okay.
Yeah,
The
it's
Scientific
loosely-
explanations were never any good, and like I didn't care if they were there. Like, there's some hand
Yeah.
waving of experiments with
But-
Lady D's daughters and stuff like that, but it's not important.
Yeah, but
Who
literally,
cares?
like, what is the old adage of magic is just science that, or like science
Yeah.
is just magic that hasn't been or that has been explained.
Yeah.
That like maybe there was like the ceremony and all the things that keep teasing is alluding to something like blood related. So, and like even the intro story, Village of Shadows book mentions like looking for like a fruit to find, and like one day it's gone. So like they're teasing like nature providing these opportunities and like themes of that a little bit. So like, but also at the same time, I don't care. It's
Mhm.
just fun. It's creative. It's taking a different spin on like, okay, well, we're gonna do like Mr. X again, like just literally big biomutant man come at you, swing you with club hand. Like, these are really interesting enemy types.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now when you get out of the house, you get your second little whatever stone piece that you put in the wall to get into
The
Castle
gargoyle face or
Demetrice.
demon face.
Yeah, which you kind of like go under Castle Demetrice, and then you get caught by Magneto here.
Heisenberg.
Um,
Walter White himself.
Say my name.
That's right.
I am the danger.
Remember when Walter White threw that bag of rocks down and it made that building explode? Remember that?
I am the one who barks.
Anyways,
I
go
am
ahead.
the
Sorry,
dog who
Chris.
barks.
Breaking Bad.
Fuck yeah, science, Mr. White.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, science,
Yeah,
bitch.
science. Yeah, science.
so he brings you to the meeting where you get the wonderful line, "Lycans and gentlemen," but you also get a look at all these weirdos that you're going to be fighting throughout the game. This is such a great set piece scene.
I love the scene so fucking much. Heisenberg is one of my favorite villains of all time, just for the line "Lycans and gentlemen," because I've never thought of it. I definitely should have thought of it before, because it's absolutely something I would say. It's less gender based, so I'm all into it already, and it's just so campy. Like, who the fuck would ever say that? And it's just, I love this line. I love this line so much. It just encapsulates what I love about this game, is that it's so campy and it doesn't take itself too seriously, but there is like some horror, a lot of horror in certain places behind it, and it just this line is so great. I can't get enough of this line.
Yeah, and it's the perfect, like, any good horror. I think some of the best horror is stuff that has great comedy in it.
I think it's also great
this is-
because this scene showcases that all four of the lords are not, and Lady Miranda are not on the same page, right? I think it shows that there's some distrust
Just
between them,
infighting,
and I like
yeah.
that.
Well,
Like, they're not like mindless, slaves to Lady Miranda. Like, they all have their individual thoughts about her plans or about Heisenberg's plans versus Lady Dimitrescu. They all have different ideas of like how to kill Ethan.
terrorize Ethan.
How to terrorize Ethan, how to cut off that guy's hand. I mean, they just fucking want his hand. Take his hand.
Yeah,
Very
love
reminiscent of RE7.
Yeah,
yeah
totally.
the
Yeah.
So,
dinner
sure.
around like the dinner table thing. Except I think
Oh,
these
yeah,
people are
absolutely.
immediately more distinct than
Oh,
the bakers. I
100%.
think the bakers get distinct personalities when you get to their areas, but they're pretty like just all the same kind of weird at that dinner table.
These are definitely larger than life comic book
So
caricatures.
who is everybody the most
Yes.
interested in finding?
Angie, fuck Angie. I immediately saw that doll and was like, I don't want to go wherever the hell you are.
I was super interested in the Toad guy.
I'm
Yeah.
most interested in Heisenberg. Wait a second, Rob. Are you going to say Lady D, and then we're going to have complete the quadrecta? The quad
Nailed it.
thing.
You nailed
Quadrilogy.
it. You got it.
No,
Perfecto.
I think Lady D was really interesting, but I think
Overhyped.
I'll get into a like a ramble on that in a second, but like I think that Heisenberg is probably the most captivating because
Yeah.
he's literally fucking psychic
Yeah,
and can manipulate metal.
He's Magneto.
Yeah, and it's just weird, and he's charismatic in like a really shitty way,
Yeah.
and he's fun, but
Who's the
like
dude that plays him? Is it the dude from Until Dawn that plays the
I don't know, I have no idea.
psychiatrist or whatever that you meet?
No, that is God, I'm blanking on his name. He was also
He's in American Gods.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Peter Stormare. It is not Peter Stormare.
It's not. It looks just fucking like him.
No, that's definitely not Peter Stormare.
Looks-
He would talk like this
I
when
know,
he's dealing
yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
So then you have a little section here. They end up deciding that Eisenberg gets to be the one who fucks with you.
Yeah, I love this section.
Yeah. After
This is a
Demetrius
great
and her
section.
have a little argument, like Demetrius clearly has a superiority complex, which you get a little more of that later in like a note where she's like, "Aren't I the special one? Doesn't Mother love me most?"
It's a lot to love.
And then you get this section where you're just like fleeing as fast as you can while lichens are chasing you and traps
So,
are setting off.
by the way, I just want to say Heisenberg's voice actor seems to be a man named Neil Newborn. That seems to be
Okay.
He's killing
seems
it.
to be his name.
Yeah, excellent job. Great show.
It's good.
He voices Nikolai in Resident Evil 3
Oh, really?
The
Interesting.
remake?
in the remake, I think.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
All right, I'm clicking off that page for fear of spoilers, but I did do the
Smart.
very risky thing of looking up voice actor.
It's
so
appreciated. Thank you.
I didn't see anything, but I just saw voice actor. Anyway,
Leon.
wait a second. More boulders to punch?
Yeah. Who plays
Boldy
the boulder?
is credited.
Boldy.
The Boldy from fucking 80s.
That'd be amazing.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, you get pinned. This part is really cool. Like you're getting pinned by a trap, and you have to get in this little alcove while these spinning
That
wheels are
fucking
coming
killed
towards
me
you.
the first time. I
Yep,
almost died
same.
the second time, but I found this little corner. I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna just die in this little fucking corner, huddled up to the wall.
Huddled up
And then it
Same.
just stopped, like three fucking inches from my face. I'm like, I'm alive? Oh shit!
Yeah.
I did the thing I was supposed to do,
And like
and I
it,
had no idea.
it's funny because it like locks your camera once the thing is close enough that he's like cutting his wrist, or at least I think not cutting, he's cutting the things on his wrist.
Yeah,
the
he's cutting
chains.
the chains.
Yeah,
The chains.
but like it really seems like his face would be still getting cut the fuck up while that
Oh,
thing
it
is cutting.
100% would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pour a little bit of that medical shit on you. You're good.
Medical Mountain
That
Dew.
magical.
Mayu,
medicine.
the Bayou juice.
There you go.
Yep. And then this leads right out to the like switch that you were trying to pull before when Magneto caught you. And then you get caught by somebody new this time. The two little sister ladies. You get through the door, but like you barely get anywhere at all in the castle. Do you see the Duke before this? I think so.
Yeah, you see him outside the castle before you go in the first time and get your hand
Yeah.
cut off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because you open up
That was
the
a little
door
while
to
ago.
go around and wrap
Yep.
up to the front door.
Yeah.
That's right.
We didn't talk about his hand getting cut off when he pulled the lever the first time when he got caught.
That
No,
he
that's
doesn't
not
get.
yet.
That's way later.
Yeah.
That's
It
near
is?
the dungeons. Yeah.
Yeah, because he got caught by Heisenberg.
Who does it to you?
Demetrius, yeah.
He gets his hand cut off a lot, guys.
He gets his gets his
does.
hand maimed a lot and cut a lot.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
wanted to do a count on one of these playthroughs to like do a counter for every time his hand gets maimed in some way.
Yeah.
Because the first time is literally when you're going under the
The
barbed
fence.
wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
And there's another part, like, I didn't even really get how he cut himself, but it's like when you're crawling under a cupboard, again, before you get your gun, but, like, he lifts up his hand.
I don't think he actually gets cut because I just did that. I think his hand, because you're following a blood trail.
Yeah.
I think by crawling on the ground, you get blood on it, and you push the box, and he looks at his hand, is like covered in blood. Like,
Yeah.
that's blood.
See, that's...
I'm surprised he didn't say that line.
That's blood.
Oh, I actually thought he did because honestly,
Nope.
that sounded spot on for Ethan.
Yeah. See, I definitely...
Wait a second, that's blood.
I think that makes sense. I think that's definitely what I thought as well. But like this last time that I just replayed it to try and do the intro, it kind of looks like there's deeper red along 2 spots on his palm where it is like bleeding out, but I don't know where the cut would have come from. So maybe it's just a weird texture thing.
I just thought it was like coagulated blood.
Okay.
Like
Let's
from
get a blood
couple
expert
spots.
on the line. Let's call
That's
somebody
right,
up.
yeah.
Bring him
What's
up.
the blood spatter for how these lichens kill people? We can solve this case.
That's right.
Um,
Oh, so I do want to talk about the Duke, if now is an appropriate
yeah,
time to talk
let's talk
about
about
Yeah,
the dude.
please.
He sucks.
This is one of the shittier parts of the game, I will say.
This is the shittiest part of the game.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the way that they designed the Duke. I don't like the way that they're sort of portraying fat people as grotesque. That's the reading I get.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the intended reading.
Yeah. I'm trying to be generous and charitable here, but I think this is very shitty, and I don't like what they're doing. And he literally falls asleep sometimes, and when you're like later on in the game when you're cooking and doing food and stuff, he like has some sort of line like food is life or something like that, like a stereotypically fat,
Like,
fat person would say.
We
you know?
get it. You're big.
Yeah.
You like food.
Yeah, I'm nothing against. Obviously, I have nothing against fat people being in games, but he's like comically huge. And
No,
it's
it
like
is literally like depicting fat people as it's like fat phobic. It's depicting fat people as like a thing to be shot, like reviled, and just not looked at. And like his positioning, like the way his coat and shirt are too small and like not tucked in, but it's like literally showing like folds of fat over like right in your face, has no shoes on, like it's thrust upon you and it is uncomfortable, and I hate it.
I will say the only thing I really like about the Duke is whoever does his voice is fucking phenomenal. I love his
the
voice,
performance is
but
fantastic.
The performance is fantastic. It's just the character model, and even the way, like, they explicitly said in an interview that they designed him like this because they wanted interesting looking characters or something like that, something shitty like that. And it's like, that says a lot about you, dude. Like,
I
don't know, something to introspect on.
It's bad.
It's bad.
I would say I do agree, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I like him just for the fact that he reminds me of the ghost from Christmas Present from A Christmas Carol. Just a big guy.
So
Just
that's
makes me
the
happy to be
thing.
around.
You can totally do like it's still something of a like a trope, but like like a fat jolly person.
Yeah.
They're literally doing it to make you uncomfortable with his physique, because otherwise his
I just
person
like being around him. I think his character.
but like
cool.
character wise, personality wise,
Yeah.
he's charming and fun.
Yeah, for sure.
That's totally fine.
Yeah,
Like
agreed.
this is a very specific like coding thing that is literally fat phobic, and that's
Which is
problematic.
Weird.
Yeah,
but I just I don't see that when I look at him, and maybe it's just not something I notice. But
yeah,
I mean,
and I will say I've seen Muppets Christmas Carol, and I love Ghost of Christmas.
great.
that's exactly what he reminds me of. I don't know why. It just
Yeah,
reminds me of that.
and that's a great character. I just don't think that they make his size anything in that film.
It's
but
not a
anyway,
full
we're getting off
constant
topic.
focal point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
just a
I
guy
do love
that
his
is
voice
big.
actor, and I think he's fun to be around, and he's got great lines.
And
It's just-
incredibly useful.
and incredibly helpful, right? So it just sucks the way that they went about this.
It's
character design.
that one thing mars this experience, which is otherwise like the concept of that character like living into like living in the shadow of the RE4 merchant. They had big shoes to fill. I think they did it literally in a bad way.
Yeah, I agree. I do love the idea, the headcanon I have now, and kind of it's not exactly headcanon because it's kind of set in the game as we talked about earlier, but all these merchants somehow know each other Like this guy
It's a
somehow
guild.
knows the RE4 merchant.
It's a
Like,
merchant guild.
Oh yeah.
I want, can RE9 just be about the merchants and just like why the fuck they're everywhere?
They're
I know
like
that would take away the mystery.
The
and magic,
umbrella
but still.
Illuminati. It's all the
right,
fucking
Yeah,
absolutely.
merchants
that's.
they're
I mean,
harvesting.
that's where they go next. They did fixed cameras. They did third person. They did first person. So now it's time for Civilization games where you play as the merchants.
That's right. That's right. We've cracked the case, everyone. We know what Capcom's up to right now. Anyway,
So let's just jump around wherever you guys want to talk about in the castle, because there's a lot that happens in this castle. Just what sticks out?
Bloodbath.
Bloodbath was
Bloodbath.
cool.
The
That was a
cellar.
fun puzzle.
Yeah, I like the bloodbath.
The literal
Bloodbath.
bloodbath
Oh,
where you
oh.
turn the statues.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I have a funny story about that. I got lucky. I didn't completely understand the puzzle or what it was trying to communicate, and I just happened to turn everything in the right way on the first go around, and I got
That's-
it. And I was
so
like,
that's-
"What?" I felt like a genius.
That's a good puzzle design is the
Yeah.
fact that it allows you, like, it's simple enough. It's like, okay, there's only 2 positions each statue can be in. There is a clue that you can get on the wall that like starts to tie in some things, like, okay, if this is teasing anything, at the very least the women aren't going to be looking at the guys. And then you can kind of like experiment and fiddle with
Yeah.
the room a little bit and just accidentally solve it. That's
Yeah,
a
like
good
I
puzzle.
read it and I thought about it a couple times. I'm like, okay, I think they're looking at them, and then she's looking at him because they want a partner, and they're looking at them because he's relying on that. And
Right.
eventually, I kind of sussed it out, but I was only like halfway there.
Yeah,
and
you can
then I
totally
just
stumble your
got
way
it.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
And I
stumbled
love
my
that.
way in. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
you are in a bloodbath.
And yeah, you can take a nice relaxing bath.
I
Oh,
got
yeah.
my rubber ducky, and I just
That's what I'm talking about.
just reminded them that they were the
all we
one.
need.
You know.
yeah. Like
Um,
I think this is one of the puzzles that was brought up. Like some reviewers didn't like the puzzle design in this game. This one specifically was brought up, and I don't
Yes.
know. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just because I solved it so quickly that it didn't feel like a
it's-
hindrance.
I was
It
in and out
seemed
of that
fine
room
to
in
me.
like 5 seconds.
Like I understood, like they were saying that they didn't complete. I think this was the Game Informer review specifically, but which is a great review. But
Shout out to
in
Ben
my
Reeves.
experience, yeah, in my experience, I also did not have much trouble with this. I got what they were saying about like not completely getting the logic of the puzzle, but the puzzle is so straightforward enough in the actual mechanics that it just doesn't really matter anyway. It's fucking Resident Evil, you know.
There's one thing that I heard. I listened to the kind of funny review discussion bits and pieces, and there was something that Blessing or Tim, no, I think it was Tim, was talking about, Tim Geddes, in how he couldn't solve one particular puzzle because he had to shoot a lock, because he didn't think that it was signposted that he had to. And I got to this section and I saw a lock and I'm like, my dude, it's literally covered in yellow tape.
Yeah.
What has everything in this game and Resident Evil 7 signposted about yellow tape?
Yep.
It
Yeah.
can be broken.
Yeah,
But
there's only-
I get it. Sometimes you're just not in the headspace for it. And you
such a
don't get it.
It's such a good game design. Like Naughty Dog does the
Yeah.
same thing in the Uncharted series, right? I don't know if y'all have ever noticed, but like there are parts of the Uncharted geography that are yellow or have
yeah.
a little yellow
Yeah,
thing
they're
on
color
them.
coded.
They're color coded, yeah, and it's very good game design, especially in like Uncharted 4, and then you also have, I think, sections in a couple of The Last of Us that
Infamous
have like
Second
yellow
Son.
tape.
You can
Yeah.
launch or
Yeah,
It's
you
especially in
could be able to-
Traversal, it's a language
Yeah.
that's used.
yeah.
Yeah,
To be
I still.
to be completely fair to
Yeah.
all of these reviewers, like like you're saying, Rob, sometimes you're just not in the headspace to see what
Yeah.
what other people are seeing, and sometimes you're playing a game for deadline and you've been playing for 6 hours or straight or whatever, and
Yeah.
you just miss
You
things.
can't solve it, or you
Yeah.
had a couple drinks that night in one particular section and so you stumbled, and that's totally fine. Like there's nothing, like there's no shade on Tim Geddes at all. It was
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
sometimes like the puzzle thing with the bloodbath, sometimes like one component of that thing will speak to you, but that's part of why what I commend about that puzzle in particular is because literally you can just stumble into it and
Did
shift
anyone
a
else
couple things.
get stuck? Because there's a scene where Lady D is picking up the phone and talking to Mother Miranda, and right after that
Love
you're
that
supposed to
scene.
go.
So
Mhm.
good.
It's a great scene, and after that you go into her room, and you like get a couple items, and then I guess you're supposed to get a key that leads you into another room. Did anyone else like miss this key for a good solid 5 minutes? Am I the only one?
No,
Okay.
I similarly was struggling to find my way out of that.
Fucking I was
Was
so
Ron
close
Burgundy
to looking up a
trapped in a
guide.
glass case of emotion for a minute?
I couldn't fucking find it, and I was like, "Am I supposed to go backwards? Why I can't go through this door? Like I'm missing something, but I don't see what." And it was right on the fucking wall. It's just like a key, and I never.
It was
saw
a shiny. That's the thing, is sometimes you can glance right past that shiny. It tucked in a corner, and so when I went back in and saw it out of the corner of my eye on accident, and I was like, "Oh, it was just here the whole time." But yeah, like it gets us all. Sometimes you get one particular thing.
That's a great moment too, when you like get that key and you're like, okay, well I'm leaving now, and then you open the door and she just comes straight in.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I do think we should talk about the lady in the room.
The blood basement.
No, actually, the lady in the room. I think we should talk about Lady D for a second, because she definitely is the biggest no pun intended of the castle. Slash also pun intended right there.
Sorry.
I think she's a great. Look, all serious. Besides my horny on main stuff aside, I think she's a great antagonist. I think her design is fantastic.
Yep,
I
cool.
think, you know, in all seriousness, I think that the internet's obsession with her is because of like, this is how you do weird bodies, like right. I don't think she's grotesque. I don't think, but she's like just.
Well, she becomes
enough.
grotesque at the
Well,
end.
she does.
I'll say.
Look,
Yeah, and
but
that actually got spoiled
don't
for me on Twitter.
shame her or judge
her.
Don't shame
So it
that
was
dragon
really funny. So it was really funny because some people were like, "Oh, well, she." This got spoiled for me, by the way, but it was my fault for looking at fucking Twitter to begin with. But somebody was like, "Oh, well, Lady D actually turns into this. Do you think she's hot now?" And of course, everybody in the comments was like, "You fool! You absolute fool!"
Yes.
Of course. But also, like more seriously, she implies that Mother Miranda has seen that form before, so obviously she can change between it if she wants to. Anyway, yeah. I mean, besides my horny unmade stuff, I think she is legitimately a great antagonist, and she gives you those Mr. X vibes without, I think, suffering the same faults that I felt with Mr. X, which is that she's not as overbearing, and she, you know, I don't know, like
she's less of a penalty.
She's less of a penalty, and the castle is a lot shorter, or at least I think it's a lot shorter. It's been a while since I played RE2 Make, but it feels a lot shorter to me than the police station. Like, and you also don't come back to the castle like you do with the police station.
So the biggest thing that like makes this less of a chore is honestly how interconnected parts of the castle are. That you can completely bypass her and go around, especially right by where you find the Duke. There's that main hall with the stairwell that ascends, but you can go around to the side, and that also leads to the main chamber. So you can just completely bypass her every time.
Yeah, same with the courtyard. You can just run
Exactly.
around her real quick in the courtyard.
It's not, and it wasn't super hard to get around Mr. X either, but there were some spots in the police station, especially like in the library, and a couple of small rooms and stuff, where it was
it's a funnel.
Tough. It was a funnel in kind of an annoying way, right? Especially if it was your first time. Yeah.
I agree.
Like I said, I found him more annoying than threatening by the end of it. But with Lady D, I was always feeling threatened, you know, as opposed to annoyed. I think the only time that was different was when I was on the roof. But I was very close to the boss fight with her.
Yeah.
So.
I think the only problem that I have with Mr. X is that depending on your order of operations, he can be around for way too long, and no matter where you go in the police station, he's going to chase you. Whereas there are places that like Lady Demetrius would not chase me or like could not see me.
I really wish we had gotten some of my footage. My USB just wouldn't fucking take it, but it was very funny because I ran into a fucking safe room, and I'm like, safe room, and I get in there, and she's like looking in the hallway, and she's like looking dead at me, and I'm like sweating fucking bullets. I'm like, I know you can't come in here, but I feel like you could come in here.
Yeah, which Mr. X is the same where there's like one save room that he makes not a save room anymore, basically, when he shows up. But otherwise he won't go in safe rooms.
I also like about Lady D contra Mr. X that you get to fight her a lot sooner than Mr. X, right? I mean, some spoilers for RE2 here, but I don't think you fight Mr. X for real, like his tyrant form or whatever, until like the very end of the game.
Right,
whereas
he's like
AVG,
the
it's right after the
one
castle.
of the bosses.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the last boss for Leon, and you don't fight him at all as Cleyre. He just gets ripped apart.
Exactly.
Right. Go ahead.
I will say the one thing I think I prefer Mr. X in terms of like being frightened. I was never
Presence.
really scared of Lady Demetrius. She's like, it's scary when she pulls out her claws and stuff, but every time she sees you, she announces herself to you. Like she says some line about, there you are, Ethan. It's like, I know very clearly that she's here, and because I have a 3D audio headset, I know where she is, and I just run away from her and I can loop her, and it's just very, very easy, which as somebody who doesn't like run and hide stuff, I like that, but she's definitely, she's not as threatening as in Mr. X.
No, for sure. And that's the thing, is I think she can be bypassed, where she is more of like, she's a threatening force that you always have to keep in mind, but you are not impeded upon, like you're not penalized for exploring the area. And like it also spices it up with those mini bosses with the daughters, because those are distilled encounters that you get that, like, sure, you can't escape, but they're not very long, and she doesn't overstay her welcome.
Yeah.
She's just fun. She shows up here and there to spice up because you're still in her house. And then, you go into the dungeon and you're pulling a lever. Everything's great. And you lose your hand.
That's a great
and she
moment.
straight up just looks at you and like, oh, hi there. And like, cool, I'm going to run. Leave your severed hand on the lever.
Yeah.
Just book it. And grab
So
it, you get
good.
item severed hand.
Well, okay, so this moment was really funny. So when he loses his arm in the dungeon there, right? I think that's a great area, by the way. It built a lot of tension. Even though I was decently armed at that point, I still felt a lot of tension.
I just did laps.
But when Ethan's hand gets cut off, I had a more dramatic response and reaction to it than I think Ethan did. Like, I gasped. I full on gasped and jumped back a little bit.
You had a more
because I
surprise
think,
reaction
A,
than Ethan?
Like, one, I didn't expect it. Two, I forgot about his RE7 superpowers, so I thought he just fucking lost his hand. And
I was like, well, how am I going to shoot?
And three, it was just so fucking visceral. I was like, oh my God. And then Ethan's like, ah, and then just keeps running. Like, I was like, I had a bigger reaction to that than you did, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
He's such
It was
a
pretty
doofus.
good.
He's
I mean,
such a magnificent
I
doofus.
think you just have to like think about him as like a comic book character. Like if, Superman's hand got cut off, would he really react? He'd be like, I'm going to keep fighting you. I will win.
He'd at least have like bravado. Ethan's just literally, oh, okay, I got to get out of the way probably, huh?
Yeah, I guess he did at least have a personality. Ethan doesn't really have much of a personality, unfortunately.
It's fun. It's just very funny. And like it's odd sometimes. Also, but I'll take a break in a sec so I can turn on my light and grab a beer. It is becoming night.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Did anyone do those ball puzzles? Because I realized
Yes.
at the
Fucking
last second, they fucking. I agree. This is the only part I've actually legitimately disliked and got mad at.
Really?
Was when I did the ball puzzle, and I know we'll get there eventually, but towards Beneviento's house, I was able to do that. But I only realized what the ball for the castle did when I left the fucking castle. And so, what do you even get? Is it just treasure or something?
Yeah,
So
it's
you
just
put
money.
it in the
Yeah, it's
Duke
a
thing, and then it's
very
just a
valuable
crystal
treasure.
right? It's just one of the big crimson crystal treasures.
It's like 20,000.
It's worth a lot of money.
Oh, fuck me. But yeah,
It's worth a lot of money.
But-
I didn't have any issues with that at all. I
The
like
first took me, I think, 3 or 4
Either.
tries to finally get it.
It
for
took
the
me like
first one.
5
The
or
second
6
one
or
wasn't
7
that
tries.
bad.
Yeah,
but-
it was awful. I hated it. I maybe, and I'm just bad at balance. Honestly, I think it's just me. I'm not very good at spatial awareness. I'm not good at balance awareness. So I think
Okay.
it's a me thing. But I hated it. Like, and all I got was like some treasure that I didn't even feel like was worth it. I thought I was gonna
It sells
get.
for a lot of money.
It
Yeah,
sells for a good
a
amount
lot
of
of
money,
money.
but I thought I was gonna get something to get Beneviento's treasure.
Oh, I thought it would be like
So
a weapon or something or a mod.
yeah, so I had
initially.
maybe I had misplaced expectations, but I was
Yeah.
very frustrated.
The second one I didn't find very difficult, but the first one, like, there's a bunch of holes in that center area when you
Yeah,
get the
that's
ball
what
in
was
there,
fucking me up.
and I can't, like, because of the way the tilting works, like the camera would not let me see where those
Yeah,
holes
you
were.
can't change the camera
was-
angle well enough with the right stick to really get a good shot of where you need to get that ball, and that's what was killing me.
That was
So
frustrating.
with
me.
me, the first one I had, like, I didn't lose it until it got to that center pit, and just because I didn't see that first pit, or of the 3, I didn't notice it. It was like, oh, cool, redo this. Went down and got it back again, and I just coasted it along the complete exterior, or wrapped around along where that fence is, wrapped it down, dropped it in, easy peasy. But I don't know how much of that is because I wasn't using a joystick, so I didn't have to fight back resistance.
That could be it.
Because I easily just boop 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 dropped it in, no problem.
Yeah, like it was literally just that middle section on that one that was
Yeah.
problematic. So maybe it is just the joystick thing.
Very well could be.
So that's most of like the castle section here. I did want to mention I love the sniper rifle. I love when you get a sniper rifle in a survival horror game. It's kind of rare, but I love it every time. It's always fun.
I want to talk about the daughters real quick too, before we move on. I like the lore behind them and how they were like these weird mutated bug creatures that were like harvesting on these dead bodies, and they just slowly like just kept bringing more and more bugs on until finally like the body just like came back alive, just reincarnated with these bugs. But then like the whole lore, like with breaking the windows to be able to kill them, is that like they couldn't stand the temperatures outside.
Yeah, you think it's going to be a light thing, like, you know, vampires in general are, but it's a cold
No.
thing.
Yeah, they couldn't. The bugs that these women were made out of could not stand the cold. I thought that was really cool and interesting.
I thought that was very smart in terms of
Yeah.
both character design and a weakness built in, and it was just good boss design in general. I really enjoyed those mini bosses, especially the first one, at least for me, in the crowded room when you come out of the dungeon. I thought, like I said earlier, it was very intense. But yeah, the lore behind them is very cool with the bugs and shit like that. And you know, every time bugs come around on the screen, like, you know, you're hacked or something's about
Yeah.
to go down. So
And
you
The
gotta
frame
make
rate
that
tanks.
Fine.
It runs like crap on PC in these instances, and it gets down to single-digit frames.
Jesus.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Wow.
It ran very smooth on PS5. I don't think I had any issues at all.
The
Yeah, I didn't
PC
have any issues
version's
on
not
PS5.
good.
Really?
It looks very pretty, but it is unstable.
That
that's
sucks.
unfortunate.
Very unstable.
That's very relatable for me personally.
Yeah.
But there's like a really cool diagram that shows, you know, the transformation of these women into the bug thing, and I loved it. I just really thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I suck so much with a sniper rifle, so when it finally came time for me to use those sniper rifle shots, I was just absolutely awful at aiming and getting hits on for the fight that I used it on. And I mean, I did shoot at those gargoyles too, or whatever the fuck they are, the birds, so that they didn't attack me on the roof. But I was just such a shit shot at it.
Yeah, it feels great to like land a headshot on a lichen back in the village, though. It's really great.
Very good.
I kept thinking about the Iron Maiden song, Village, or whatever it's called, Back in the Village or something like that. Back in the village, and you're back in the village again. Because they literally say that, and you keep going back to the
I feel like I'm
village.
looking at Iron Maiden live right now.
We're gonna get DMCA'd.
Oh no.
You know, I played bass for a long time, so you know, I'll just start ranking out some.
There we go.
Yeah. I really love the wine cellar. I'm not sure if it's full of wine or blood. Couldn't tell. I don't know.
not
But
both?
Blood.
yeah, probably both.
Why not both?
It was blood.
Are you sure though? Because it was a wine cellar with a lot of broken wine caskets.
A lot of dead people down there.
That's true too.
Blood wine. It's literally blood wine.
Yeah, it's
Probably.
she's a fucking vampire. That was
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
Those were
both.
casks of blood.
They made wine out of blood.
Yeah, so it's Los Dos, buddy. But yeah, like just like the wheat fields earlier, it's just a really clever way to hide enemies, just right in front of you, but slightly below where you can see.
Their design is really cool too, with the swords, the broadswords. They're
and I
Yeah.
love you shoot
When-
when with their hands.
So when people found that note in the attic that said, "Oh, this great knife that can slay monsters and shit," and then you found that tomb in like the dungeon via the iron insignia key. Was anyone else pissed that the fucking knife wasn't in there? Because I thought the knife was going to be in there. I fought through a bunch of skeletons. I did one of those torchlight puzzles. I opened up the tomb, and it's a goddamn like treasure that I'm going to sell back to the merchant.
I wasn't pissed. I definitely was expecting that initially, that was going to be there. Granted, we got that delivered in a different form later on, but I was just like, I wasn't upset because I opened it, was like, oh, this is going to be worth a shit ton of money. And my guns are really going to appreciate this.
I was just annoyed with the lantern.
Yeah, I was upset because of that lantern puzzle.
It's obnoxious.
It's like
it's a little. And why? Look, just imagine what Ethan is doing. Right, he's just pushing it.
There's a video
with his head.
on our Discord of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just pushing it with his goddamn stupid head and moving one torch. And it's like, Ethan, there's got to be a better way, man.
There is. Just shoot it. You're supposed to shoot it, but if you don't want to use bullets, then yeah.
Oh, does it go flying further if you shoot it? I used the knife and it didn't really do anything.
Yeah, if you shoot it, because the expectation is part of the problem with this issue, or part of the problem with this thing is that you expect to push it the opposite direction, get momentum to have it swing back. It has no momentum.
No, it does not.
It straight up stops basically back in the center. But if you go behind it, you shoot it, it knocks it toward the thing. Like you can line up a shot clearly.
That's dumb.
I agree.
Yeah,
I don't think that was great.
I solved it with my stupid head, as Doreen
I
said.
solved it with my head too.
Head,
yeah.
I initially when I first did it, I experimented after the fact. Was like,
I made Ethan push his forehead into those lanterns.
I was blown away when someone told me you could just fucking fire a shot. I'm like, I'm on standard. I would have just fucking used a bullet. God damn it.
Yeah, I had plenty of bullets. I just didn't think about it because it's like this is a game that wants you to conserve bullets. It's like you would think if I can push it, I should push it.
Exactly, and that's the thing it's counterintuitive, and that's the problem I think that these brazier things have. But yeah, like
brazier puzzle is easy. Like the first one's easy. It's
because you're not trying to juggle it back and forth between these things. Yeah. But yeah, that I originally had solved it with my head as well, literally and physically, but then shot. And oh, okay, yeah, that's what you say.
Yeah. The only other note I wanted to say real quick is a tip for anybody out there who's still playing through the game. If you have not finished yet, if you upgrade your ammo capacity while your weapon is empty, it will give you a full magazine for free. So that's how you should do that.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Can we talk about the Lady D boss fight?
Oh yeah. The last thing before we get to the end of this area, obviously, we got to talk about Lady D. She turns into a dragon.
Right.
So this fight is awesome.
And she still wants to fuck you, I think.
I sure hope so. Personally, I sure hope so. I'm down. But anyway, this fight fucking rocks. You know, it reminds me of the Salazar fight because when I hope I'm remembering it. I believe it's Salazar, but the little guy, the Napoleon guy in RE4.
Salazar is the leader dude.
Oh,
the cloaked guy. I can't remember. I know you're talking about.
But he comes out of this creature, this plant creature, right, in RE4. And you have to hit his body after hitting the creature around him so many times. I mean, in this case, Lady D is just her body that you're supposed to hit is always right there, right? So it's a little different. But it just now that I'm thinking about it, reminds me.
Oh, you're right. No, it is Lord Salazar. I'm sorry.
Oh, it is Salazar.
I was thinking Sadler.
Yes, and I always get those two fucking confused.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Anyway. But yeah. So it reminds me of the Salazar fight from RE4 in some ways. I thought this fight was awesome. I just couldn't aim for shit with the sniper rifle. So eventually I said, fuck it. And I started using my pistol and my shotgun if she got too close. But yeah. This was a great fight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Super fun. Super cool looking. I loved when she throws the bugs at you. And I was like, oh, I thought I took all these bugs out already.
Yeah.
What the fuck's up with these bugs? And you just
it's
have
a
to go and
callback.
hide from them in the little what the fuck do you call those?
Little towers?
Sure, I guess. Whatever those fucking things are on the top of that thing.
It was a nice callback, right? Because I love the kind of lore implication that she has the same powers as her daughters, but also she can turn into this hideous monster that only Mother Miranda has seen before, and you're only the second person ever to see it. And this is where you get the knife too, and where you stab her, and then that's why she gets pissed. She turns into the monster, and then you're like, oh fuck, and then the knife falls, and I'm like, Ethan, you moron! For the love of God, pick up that fucking knife, my dude.
The second you get that knife, you throw the other one away and you put that in your sheath.
Yes.
That's right.
Use it
And then
everywhere.
I don't think we're ever seeing that knife again. We're never
Nope.
seeing that fucking
No,
knife.
that
again.
Probably-
no, because it's in the castle and you can't go back there.
It
Yeah,
might
and I
show
hate
up
that,
at
by
like
the way.
the final boss fight or something. Like, oh, the knife.
Yeah, I could also totally
Dun,
see it
dun,
being
dun.
like something that you can purchase in that in-game store thing, like Resident Evil 3
Oh,
Remake
yeah.
store thing.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Um,
But yeah, great boss.
I played mouse and keyboard, and I also love using sniper rifles in games in general. That's usually like the role that I play. No issue whatsoever in like getting headshots on her at a distance. It was fun. It was like it's still a really fun fight.
Yeah, I had a great time.
But on hardcore, like she's a major bullet sponge, so I had to use like all of my sniper rounds. I had like 13, drained all those. Shotgun I dropped as as we were playing keep away around the railing, just going around and popping her in the ass with a shotgun. And then like the top part where she like is right in front of you, I just unloaded every shotgun shell I could. But it still felt really fun and dynamic.
yeah,
And oh my god, when you fall down,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. I love that scene.
so epic.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
Just falling down. It was like it gave me a little bit like intro Two Towers, Gandalf falling down with the Balrog,
Yeah.
landing in the pit, and then just her turning into dust.
yeah.
That was
I-
really
love
cool.
that.
Yeah, I liked the boss fight a lot. The bug thing kind of confused me though, because I just want like a lore thing somewhere telling me why she can use the bugs, because she's clearly not made
Was
of
that
them.
not the
She's
gift
allowed to
that
walk
Mother
out.
Miranda gave her?
Well, like,
That's why she was able to make the daughters?
Well, she was
well, she
able
can like
to still go
manifest them.
outside.
Yeah, so she's not made of them, obviously, but she
No,
can
but
manifest them
wasn't that
somehow.
The gift that Mother Miranda gave. That's why she was able to make those daughters. Is Mother Miranda gave her the gift to control those bugs.
Sure.
Possibly.
Did I not
Maybe.
read that right?
I don't know. Probably.
That's a good
You
theory,
have to
though.
go back and reread because I grabbed
Yeah, I
like
thought
pretty much
that's-
everything.
That's
but
what I gathered from it. Is that was the gift that she got.
I could
Was
see that.
The
Yeah,
ability
that-
to
I mean, that would
those
make-
and
that would make
those
sense.
daughters, because she was
Yeah.
never able to have any herself.
Yeah, so she could
Right.
control the bugs and
Yeah.
controlled them to make daughters.
Yeah, and that's why they were having experiments on different. I don't know if you saw the thing, but they were kind
Yeah,
of
I saw
experimenting
those.
on different women within that house
Mhm.
that had been working with them. So
yeah, and
Well,
I will
I might be
say,
a fucking liar. I don't know.
yeah, I
I've been
mean,
wrong.
I
was
think
fucking-
I don't think there was like a lore thing that specifically said that was the gift that she was given or whatever, but it would make sense as like how that works.
she was given a gift to.
Yeah.
And,
You know what? For this podcast, that's canon lore right now. We just made that
That's
happen.
right.
Okay.
This is
what was
canon
that about
canon.
aliens being evolved people?
You know, I said
That
what
was,
I said.
that was an eternity ago. That never
It
happened.
sounded very smart and correct.
I mean, I think it was probably better than what we got.
Man, that ending sucked. Anyways, continue.
Yeah.
And I will say also, she is a huge bullet sponge on standard as well. Like I walked away from
I
that with
believe
a
it.
bunch of pistol ammo, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Same.
So yeah, you fall down here and you get what you don't realize yet is a part of your daughter in a flask.
That was such
That was a big
cool
revelation.
reveal.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
fucked up.
that was a very good reveal. I also did anyone get confused? Oh, I felt like such a massive dum dum in this next part right after because I kept going in the house, checking out the well, checking out the drawbridge, thinking I could like shoot something down. I knew there was a door in front of me,
I
but
100% did that.
Yeah,
did
I
that
didn't
for a
think
good
to fucking
15
shoot the
minutes. I was
lock.
like, how the fuck did I
I-
make this go down?
I didn't think to shoot the fucking lock. I thought it was like RE4 where you could shoot the drawbridge and it would go down. But no, you're supposed to shoot the fucking lock on the door that's like towards the other.
Yeah, I
path
thought you
or
were
whatever.
trying to go through the drawbridge, and I did the
Yeah.
same thing. I looked all over the place for like a handle or something. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I felt real fucking dumb when I walked
Yeah.
up to the door. I was like, oh no, I just need to shoot this shit off.
Yeah, you can also just cut it with a knife. I just cut it
No.
with a knife. I don't.
You
Absolutely.
only shoot locks off. That's it.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I've cut it with a knife.
No, doesn't work. Ask Brian. He'll tell you.
Fair
Ask
enough.
for locksmith.
My knife is a lockpick. Funnily enough.
All right, well, hey, Fuck. Okay.
I got a really nice knife, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you
that
threw
knife.
away that magic demon killing knife.
Exactly. I got all I need right here.
No, that's what he's
Right.
knifing the locks with. He uses that one specifically for the locks, and then the other one he uses for the monster.
So this part, as you're like getting back towards the village and you see the old lady and everything, the umbrella logo starts showing up everywhere, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
I'm curious to see what that's all about. Obviously, we knew Umbrella was involved somehow, but I want to see how.
I know, but I love it. I love like it laying those seeds of curiosity.
Yeah,
Like,
as soon as
what
I
the
saw that, I
fuck
was
is
like,
this
"Let's
doing
fucking
here?
Go.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then
It's funny. I didn't even notice the umbrella logo on my first go around. I only noticed it when I came back around. I think later in the game to put some of the slots in.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then I looked at it and I was like, wait a second, hold on. And I'm like processing. I'm like, God damn it! Wait a second.
Yep.
I
Hold
love it
on a
because
second.
it is super subtle, so like if you're not
Yeah.
like paying super close attention, like you can miss it totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, excellently.
I also,
done.
when you're coming through there, I love the statues of like that are supposed to represent the four lords of the area that are like within the walls. I thought that was really cool. The
Yeah.
environment is so good in this
it's
game.
cool. It's
Cannot
awesome.
say it enough. It's so good.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And I like that when you actually get into like the area with the Duke and you get the reveal that the Flask is your daughter, and this is maybe the most this is maybe the most emotion Ethan ever shows, and it's still not that much. You think it'd be a little more than that. But I like that this, like, you know, I said before I like hub and spoke structure. This is like the hub now, where you can come back and upgrade your stuff. There's a save there. There's the place where you put all your MacGuffins is there. It's great.
I would say the reveal of you are now having to find parts of your daughter to, I am assuming, reconstruct her. As the only parent on the podcast, kind of fucked me up a little bit. I was like, I don't.
I
Like that.
think that's fair.
I
Yeah.
don't like that. Like,
Really fair.
it really made me feel
I-
nauseous.
I
was
really
nauseated
didn't-
from it.
Yeah, I really didn't see it coming, and when he started scratching away at things, I got a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, Ethan, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
man. I don't know
oh,
if we
yeah.
should be
This is
doing
not knowledge you want.
When it said like
this is-
head and they turned it over.
This
and it
is
said
like
rose,
Disco
I was like,
Elysium. Like, you don't want this knowledge. Like, this is dark knowledge here. I don't know that we should be exploring it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
totally.
great scene.
It's a great reveal.
And then, like, the Duke tells you that you, like, all hope is not lost. You can still save her. Go to the house with the red chimney. And Ethan's, like, a little pissy baby about it. He's like, you better not be lying to me, Mr. Duke. Why the hell what reason would he have to lie to you to give you hope
Yeah.
that your daughter is still alive?
Because he wants you to help facilitate the ceremony to revive or do some other shit. He's
Well,
like
yeah.
using you.
He is probably
What if
some
the-
kind of evil deity thing. I just...
What if the ceremony is just to bring back his friend, the merchant? I would love that. What if the merchant's the fucking
Oh, that'd be a
final boss?
great twist.
What
What
love
are you
that.
walking? A baby.
I've got some weapons. They're better than yours. I've got infinite rocket launcher.
I'll buy your baby at a high price.
I don't know. Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
Sorry.
Anyways, so there's this big section of exploring the village. Some things have changed, like some stuff has moved around so you can get to new areas. There's some lichens to kill. You get the well wheel, which is awesome. As
Fuck
soon as I got
yeah.
that, I went back to every
yeah.
well.
Dude,
That's what we love Metroidvanias for.
Hell
Yeah, I wanna-
yes.
raise all those wells.
I immediately went and did it too. I immediately
yeah,
was
that's
like,
what
all
I
right,
did.
this
Yeah,
well's
I
Going
was
and
like-
finding each
I
spot.
went to every single one I
As-
could.
Uh-huh.
This was
as
great.
soon as I got it, I was like, well, what do we have here? I was actually more like wheel. What do we have? Anyway.
Oh my god.
Y'all are never let me back after this.
No, we love terrible puns.
Damn, that's so fucking funny.
I had a couple of jump scares in this section. There's there's the obvious one at the window where it's obviously a jump scare, but it still got me anyways.
Yep.
So you'll find in the footage that's playing right now, as I knew it was coming, but as I was waiting for the exact moment for it to hit, but it still kind of startled me a little bit. But you still see like I'm immediately responding and shooting that motherfucker in the face. Like my hand shifts and shoots him in the head. It's like, how dare you, sir?
Yeah. And then there's also a guy there's that locked house, like with the guitar on the door that we now have the key for, but I have not been in there obviously yet. And then there's like a little hut next to it with like a lichen hiding in a corner making weird noises. He definitely got me because I didn't hear the weird noises he was making, and I just walked next to him and then he screamed at me, and that'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love just going back to the village and being able to explore, like getting the well wheel. It's so great, just being able to go and trying to figure out how to get to all these different wells and figure out what's inside of them, and a lot of good valuables that you can sell. And we haven't talked about it, I don't think yet, but being able to combine valuables to make them more valuable. I really love that aspect. It was really cool. And
Very Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, I find some parts of like a doll in this section, excuse me, and being able to combine those and sell them is great. It makes exploration super fun and worthwhile.
Yeah, I also like hunting chickens and fish and whatnot. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I do love knifing the fuck out of pigs. That's
Oh, jeez. That's a little
chickens.
specific.
I got chickens. I don't want
All
to.
right, so we're gonna have to call somebody.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it to chickens. I was like, I feel like I'm knifing my own chickens. I don't want to do that.
I don't usually enjoy hunting animals in games, and I didn't enjoy it here either. But like, I knew that it was an important part of the game, and it was easy enough to do, and I didn't feel like it was out of my way, so I did it. But it's not a thing in games I ever like super enjoy or look forward to or want in my games particularly. Like, I don't get pleasure out of killing pigs or chickens or anything like that. And also, it's so finicky. I had to like swing that knife like 10, 15 different times before I killed one chicken.
Yep,
So
yeah,
it's just like not a good time.
I think that was the one thing that was spoiled for me, was that the food was like a very significant resource that you need for the Duke.
Yeah, I guess it's more that I enjoy a good crafting system than the actual like thing that I'm crafting with. I mean, to me, it's just like I have to gather this material,
Hey, but fuck those fish, though, right? I mean, we can knife the
That's
shit out of
right.
those.
I'm pescatarian. Fuck those fish.
Yeah.
It is
Beat the hell out of them fish.
It is kind of weird that they unlock hunting right now, but they don't unlock cooking until after you do the house with the red chimney. So you could,
Yeah.
like, if you did not know that cooking was a thing in this game,
And you
could
sold
reasonably just sell all that stuff and think that that's what you're supposed to do.
Damn you, Ethan Winters. So
Well, you can tell because it was grayed out at the bottom. When you go to talk to the Duke, you can tell that there is like a giant thing that's missing from the bottom.
Yeah, probably. But some people are like on that money hunt, looking to upgrade their stuff, and so I even experimented with it.
But I do think there is like a gray box, right? That says locked at the bottom.
No,
the cooking
I don't
thing
think
was?
so.
not yet. No, it doesn't show up until you unlock cooking. So there's nothing signposting it really. But I experimented, so I saved, talked to him, sold stuff, and to see if it did anything, if it triggered cooking, because I knew that cooking existed in the game at the very least. Nothing happened, so I just reloaded the save. I was like, all right, I'm not going to deal with, like, this isn't how I engage with this system, because you totally still could, but I'm glad there was also an article out there somewhere that also alludes to this as well. I highly recommend people, like, buyer beware, like, don't sell your meat.
Yeah.
Keep
And
it.
there's specialty meat that you can find.
Yeah, you can find like a very like not very well hidden, but bluebird.
Yeah, in the cemetery.
That is worth.
I
very
still
useful.
I still gotta go do that. I think.
Yeah. Did you guys find that?
I forgot to do that.
Did you guys find that before you got the picture? Because I got the picture, but I didn't leave that hub again.
Yeah,
to go get the
I got it on accident. I heard it.
Cool.
Because so what I did was I came back and then I went toward the castle again just to see if I could explore it at all, or like just to see what it would look like if it collapsed or anything. Saw the drawbridge up, but I saw fish. I was like, okay, I'll kill this fish. Turned around, 3 lichens had spawned behind me and killed them. And then as I was picking up, I heard a particular chirp and looked around and then saw it on accident. And then because it's a vibrant blue and stands out,
yeah,
and so then popped it and got the meat and was like, hell yeah, this will probably be very useful.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome that they also, if you did not happen across it, like I did not and Dory did not, you get that little photo later.
I got it after I got the photo.
I see.
Oh yeah, I found the photo eventually. Yeah, and I was like,
I think I went back to the village and did like I saw a vision or something. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I saw a vision and I think I forgot about the bluebird. But now that I'm remembering, I'm going to go back to it shoot a bird, I guess.
Yeah, I'm for sure gonna
Hey, fuck
shoot
that bird up.
With
Yeah.
pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do anything like after that hub area. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going back through the village and getting more stuff. This is also where you get the new pistol that is way better than the Lemmy, the M1 something.
M1911, I think.
So much more powerful. Like, there's really nothing. I think maybe the reload speed is slightly slower, or the fire speed or something, but it's just significantly better in every way, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I sold
But
my old one
thank-
immediately.
Yeah.
I think that takes us to the next. Unless I'm jumping to the gun here. No pun
Nope.
intended.
No,
I think
that's
that takes us to a
pretty
certain
much
place.
it.
Let's-
What do you do with the house with the red chimney? I don't even fucking remember that. I
Oh.
know you go there and it takes forever to unlock everything because you got to do the
Oh
thing
my
with the
god!
hydraulic
Yeah, you gotta
jack
go
with the
around so many fucking
tractor.
things. There's actually an optional boss. Did anyone else do the optional boss?
The dude covered in steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
No, I did not.
Is he an optional?
Really? You guys didn't have that?
I didn't know that was an optional thing. He was just like in my way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I did him too. I didn't know if he was optional.
I thought he was optional because you can definitely just get around him or run away. Or,
Oh, you could
I
run
don't
past him.
remember.
Oh,
Sure,
well,
yeah.
yeah,
I
you
I
can
don't
totally
remember
run past
seeing
him
a
for
dude
sure.
covered in steel at all.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's on the way to the red chimney house, but
Yeah,
Oh,
he's just
okay.
this dude with a helmet and like big ass claws.
Oh,
that
okay,
comes in.
yeah, okay, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did fucking kill him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, fuck
Maybe
that
it wasn't optional.
Yeah, fuck
then,
that
but
guy.
he felt like very much like an optional boss or
Yeah.
a mini boss
Yeah.
or something.
for sure.
Yeah.
He's a new
I-
enemy
I
type.
liked it. I
Yeah,
liked
he
that he
was
popped out a
definitely
fucking.
out of the ordinary from
It
everything.
was
that we've
great
seen so far.
because I was at a point in the game where I wasn't feeling super challenged by the enemies, and then this guy fucking pops up just to ruin my goddamn
Takes a
day.
lot of
I'm
ammo.
like la di da di da, like everything's great, and then this dude pops up. I'm like shit.
So what I did was I dropped a mine as he was starting to come to me.
That's right.
Blew him up, blew off a lot of the steel plating.
Yep.
Popped him a few times in the head with a sniper rifle. That was it.
Easy.
exactly
Yeah, I
what
got
I
to
did.
use my explosives more. I always forget that I have them.
They're so useful.
Yeah, especially
I
once you
always
get the
have at
crafting
least 2 on
materials for
hand.
'em. So good. Like
Yeah,
I
and I
craft so many
always-
lines.
That's the thing is like I have a really good rotation that I found. Like the game is generous with its resources in being able to craft stuff, which I appreciated. Like it is
Super.
very good about its craft stuff, and it's a separate menu and everything. But sometimes, like because I have like probably 90 handgun bullets, like 9mm rounds. Even though I use it pretty regularly, but the game's generous with it. But I'll still, because it's so generous with that, I'll use my other stuff, my gunpowder and stuff, to make explosives occasionally. So I always at least have 1 mine and 1 pipe bomb and some
Yep.
shotgun shells.
Yep.
And so it's been able, like I participate in that system and I'm able to blow stuff up.
So now, and the thing you get, by the way, is the other part of the key that lets you unlock the gate
You're right.
to House
yeah.
Beneviento.
Which I like that manipulating the items to put them together.
Yeah, and I asked Ryan Stabell while he was on a stream with me if that was a realistic thing you could do with the key, and he said yes, that could work. So
Wow.
there you go.
We
Hell
asked
yeah.
the locksmith
Resident
and
Evil
he
8,
answered.
realistic as fuck, as we all know.
So yeah, let's talk about the trail to House Beneviento. It's spooky.
Here
Yes.
we fucking go. I love this section because just on the walk up to it, everything is dead fucking quiet. There is no music. There's almost nothing in the background going on.
Just
like,
the sound of your feet walking through the
it's
forest.
just the sound of your feet and your heart and probably your actual heart beating. And you
Yeah.
walk into this house. Let me know if I'm skipping anything, but you walk into this house and it's just a normal goddamn house. And as soon as I walked into this house and it was normal and nothing was happening and everything looked fine, I'm like, fuck this shit.
Immediately
fuck
on guard.
this shit. Fuck this shit. I don't
Yeah.
want to be here. I don't know what's happening here,
You
but I
forgot
don't
all
like it.
the hanging dolls that you pass on the way in.
Yeah,
That was
I don't
very-
have a thing about dolls, but one of my
Very
roommates,
ominous.
one of my roommates has a huge phobia of like evil dolls, and so I was thinking about her. I was thinking about them while I was in that house because I was like, wow, they would hate this.
Yeah, I love that there's a bunch of hanging dolls in that forest, but then when you come back, you find out you've been hallucinating ever since you stepped through that gate, and they were actually hanging bodies, and there's a lot of hallucination stuff going on
That's right.
here,
Yeah,
which is
the
very cool.
hallucination with Mia, and there's some like lore exposition there. I forgot about that, but yeah, then you're going through the graveyard and stuff. I don't remember all the things Mia says, but I think it's more about Rose.
It's
stuff like that.
primarily like holding secrets from Ethan about Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff she knows.
Yeah, like you said, there's no enemies from when you open the gate to head towards House Beneviento. All along that trail across the bridge into the house, is not a single enemy until the monstrosity that chases you through that house.
I just fucking like, and I knew something bad was gonna happen because I looked in one room and nothing, and then I was getting serious PT vibes, and PT. I had never played Silent Hill before the PT demo, which I was able to play, I think, before it was taken down or something. I can't remember how I played it. I think I played it on PC. But anyway, that fucking game scared the shit out. I've never been scared more than in PT. And this gave me huge PT vibes. So I was way up on my guard, and like I kept like creeping into every little room, and I'm like, anybody here? Anybody? And everything's just quiet and normal, and I'm like, this sucks. I hate it. I don't want to be here. Where the fuck's the exit? Where the fuck's the key? Yep. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I'm in bad vibes.
I love the delivery that it has, like the pacing of like going down and doing everything in the basement, totally non-hostile, and like you go and deal with this dummy, this like massive doll of Mia, basically.
Yeah.
And like every time you go and interact with it,
I love that.
I thought it was great, and I was waiting for
the way
something.
all those puzzles interconnected was just amazing. I loved it so much.
Yeah, super smart, and like that's your central puzzle solve location, and you like expand off that, like very well designed. And then like you come back from being at the bottom of the wall that you get that video footage from, which is super creepy and well done. And you go down and you have the baby crying like, uh-oh. Yeah, and then the umbilical cord. Oh, it's so perfect.
Yeah, I do and real quick before we get to the baby.
Like when. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Go.
Before we get to the baby, I do like that. You were talking about. I just want the key and I want to get out of here. Up until the moment that you walk into Angie, which is a great moment. You like walk up to her and then the lights turn off.
The game off.
And she steals all your shit.
I was like, I'm good. I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah. And then at that point is when you are locked in. At any point up until then, you could technically just go run back out the door, but you are driven as Ethan because you need to save your child.
Right.
The section where the lights go flicker, and I'm free, like, so I'm playing set the scene a little bit. I'm playing, and my partner Kim was watching me while I'm playing, and the fucking lights flicker. And my weapons disappear, and I'm like, nope. I don't want to be here anymore. Fuck this. And I'm literally like cursing out loud. I'm like, fuck this. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't want this fucking amnesia shit in in Resident Evil. Well, I don't actually mind it to a short amount of time, but you know what I mean. Like,
it's done well,
and it's done so well that my anxiety immediately went through the fucking roof. And like, I definitely was like, oh my God, I have to get out of here now.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm. It's so masterfully done. Like it is the Baker's Hour 1 good. Like it is just that good. Like I remember when I was playing RE7, I have a clip of this on my Twitch channel where Jack is chasing me. And I'm like, oh, it's cool, because I've got the key to the fucking door that takes you into the cellar. Mm-hmm. And it turned out I either had the wrong key, or I think I didn't have a key at all. I didn't realize I needed a key. And so he's right behind me chasing. I can hear his fucking footsteps. So I press A to like go underneath, because I'm like, oh, I see a door. I'll just go underneath the cellar. And then it fucking brings up my menu to show that it's locked. And it's just the whiniest, most scared voice I think I've ever done in my life. I'm like, it's locked! Oh no! And I just internally die. I somehow got away, but I was like, I'm so dead. He's right there. I'm so dead. So good.
Yeah. So, we were building the scene there. I'm sorry I interrupted building the scene. But you come back out of that well, the cradle is broken, you hear the crying, you come back out into the dark room where Mia's doll was, but now it's just like a bunch of blood all over that table
and dripping from the ceiling.
Yeah,
and like that, like the creepy just drip sounds. Everything delivers it. You see her like
it took me a while with the doll puzzle. It took me a while to figure out certain things. I did have to look up the puzzle a little bit. I think I got a small spoiler or something at one point. Oh, no, that was later on, but Yeah, I mean, this is so well done. I did get I stumbled a little bit with the doll puzzle and figuring out how to open that door. It was a really easy thing that I was missing. Of course it was, but I don't remember what it was. But I just remember going like, oh, of course I missed this, and then I figured.
Yeah, I really like the puzzles here, like the way they kind of connect to each other. It's very much like that trap
great.
room that Lucas,
exactly.
is
Yeah.
that his name, makes for you in
oh yeah,
7?
that's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah, which
And,
that was great.
It was funny because I really thought this part was going to take me a while because this was the only section I had left, obviously, before our cutoff point. And I was like, man, this is going to take me a minute because the castle took me a minute to get through. And I breezed through this in 40 fucking minutes. I mean, it took no time at all.
Much shorter for sure.
Yeah, it was shocking.
Which, I mean, honestly, I would not have liked the section at all if it had been 4 hours long of hide and
no,
seek.
it was
Yeah,
the perfect
absolutely.
amount of time. I mean, it stayed the exact amount of time it needed to. It knew when to show you some shit and then get the fuck out. You know,
It was perfectly. It was just the second, third, all this stuff. This was perfectly paced. Like I don't think we could have asked for better pacing in Beneviento.
Yeah. So
it was just really well done.
So my mom has been watching me play this game. She is not good with horror, but she still watches these games because she's interested in the stories. The stories are interesting. And I started, like, you get to this room where Mia is missing now, and there's the umbilical cord leading in the hallway. I'm like, that's a big fucking umbilical cord right there. She's like, that's not an umbilical cord.
I have seen an
it's not an
umbilical cord in
umbilical
real
cord.
life. Could not tell you that.
It's definitely fat. It's way bigger than an umbilical cord.
I thought it was a big ass intestine. I did not think it was an umbilical cord.
I knew it was an umbilical cord because it was literally like Mia's representation on it, and as you get out, there was a baby crying, and this is like
I just did not
thematic
place that together.
tie-in.
Yeah. So you walk down that hallway, you get to the end, and this big, grotesque, bizarre baby thing drops down in front of you.
Baba.
It was
Yep.
like a
Alright.
weird fetus fucking thing. It wasn't even like a full baby.
From that,
I've been waiting to talk about this. So
Okay.
it's like 12 p.m. or 1 a.m. in the morning, right? And so I'm playing this. The fucking worst time to be playing this. And Kim
Best time.
is in the background, and she's been watching. And I woke her up at one point, I think, because I screamed or I got mad or I. Not like I screamed out of surprise, not like out of anger, but like I got
you.
scared or something.
You're playing a horror game.
yeah, horror game stuff. And I woke her up, and so at that point I was like, sweetie, why aren't you going back to sleep? She's like, well, you woke me up, and now I really want to know what's going on. I'm like, I really think you should turn around and, like,
you should probably go
back
the fuck back to sleep.
Yeah,
You don't want no part of this shit.
Yeah, you don't want, because at this point I'm like 30 minutes deep, and I'm like, you don't want any part of this. This is some bad shit. Some bad shit's about to happen. And as I'm like telling her that she needs to like maybe turn around and go back to sleep, the fucking baby shows up.
Awesome.
She screams bloody fucking murder, and it's like 1 a.m, and like we have downstairs neighbors and upstairs neighbors, or at least upstairs neighbors, and her scream scared me more than the baby did, because I was kind of expecting something like that, but she made me jump in conjunction with the fucking baby, and then I started running away from it, and it caught up to me at one point, and she screamed again, and I'm like, you scream a third time, the fucking neighbor's gonna think you're dying or something. Stop screaming. Like, we live in a fucking apartment, but it was so tense, and she was along for the ride, for better or for worse, and it was.
I love the death animation. If you get caught,
getting swallowed by
I
it's
did get
so
caught.
messed up.
It's so fucked up.
I did not get caught, and I don't want to see it. You can't make me.
I honestly,
Chris, it picks you up and it puts you in its mouth and
it
swallows you.
swallows you whole,
And
and
you
it's
just like
awful.
slowly see your feet descend into its throat, and it's horrifying.
I
That
literally,
sounds terrible.
I walked to it because I wanted to see what would happen when it killed me, and it was so worth it.
Yeah.
Rob, you are
from
fucked up. You are fucked up, Rob.
I don't care if I die. I want to
Yeah.
see what they animated.
From the second that
fucked up.
thing came down, my mom was under a blanket. She did not watch any part of this at all. She wanted no part of it. But yeah, I mean, we have a couple comments here. First of all, Rathalos asked, "What did you think of the baby?" This was the baby he meant, obviously, not
This
Rose.
is the baby everyone's
it was great.
asking
I mean, it's
about.
a great
It's
reveal.
fucking rad.
I was
This-
streaming this with my wife at the time. We did stream last Friday. We might do it again tomorrow. But she and I had a great fucking time when that happened. Like you can just hear both of us in the stream go, "Oh fuck!" And like I just turned around and just started sprinting back. I was like, "I gotta get the fuck out of here!"
That laugh it does. Oh.
And
it
I
was
got
just
caught once,
great.
so I saw the animation like naturally. I'm like, Rob was a fucking freak. I love you, Rob, but you're a fucking freak.
They spent the time animating death animations.
I also got.
I want to
caught
see
by
what
police,
the
so I
what
God
they
damn it,
did.
Rob! Their labor's been compensated already. Look it up on YouTube, like the rest of us.
But
I'm curious.
I do love like this because you have to kind of run away from it twice. I love the second time where it's like you actually have to hide because it corners
Yeah.
you in a room.
Yeah.
And I love that like.
And the
you
reason
can
I got
pick
caught.
different places.
I love the
Sorry,
pathing. Yeah.
the reason I got caught is because I got that breaker or the fuse or whatever to put in the breaker, and I kept pressing the elevator button. I'm like, what is happening? Why isn't? I thought the lights would come on and the baby would disappear, but instead you have to wait for the elevator. But I didn't get that, and so the baby almost catches me, and then I run down the hallway and I take a wrong turn or something, and then like I get caught. But I figured out the time after that. Oh, I'm supposed to press the elevator button, and I'm supposed to like wait for it, and it's a waiting game. It's kind of like, I know we're making so many RE4, or at least I am RE4 comparisons, but I mean, you know,
They're fair.
it's kind of in.
They
kinda fair.
are
But
deliberately
it's-
trying to inspire RE4.
Yeah, for
Yes, and it's kind of like the experiment or or you know one of Salazar's bodyguards. You remember when you're fighting him in the sewers?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you've got to wait on the elevator to come down so you can get away from it. I forget what it's actually called. It's like U8 2457. I don't fucking remember. But it's the thing that you have to freeze with the nitrogen. I don't know if you all remember. But anyway.
Yeah, I remember.
Did you hide from the baby at all? Like I hid under the bed. At
I
one
got
point.
under the bed. And the worst fucking thing was that I accidentally turned Ethan around. And so the baby was coming from behind me.
Yep.
And you can't turn the camera enough to look behind you. So I was just like, this is the fucking worst.
Yeah. Thankfully, you know, it's not like an alien thing or anything where it will check hiding spots. At least not that I
Yeah.
could tell. It seemed like it.
No.
Like once you're in a hiding spot, you
No,
are safe.
it
So
really.
did we all
doesn't.
hide in the bed, under the bed?
Yes.
I did. I guess you
okay.
can hide in one of the cabinets.
Yeah,
but
my
I-
brother and I were texting about the game, and he told me that he hid in a cabinet, and I was like, "That's fucking cool."
I
That's
thought
the
I
Hitman
would.
shit.
I thought I would because I kept seeing him everywhere and I considered it. But I was like,
why are there so many fucking cabinets here?
well, yeah, I figured out like this would probably have to be something like Outlast or Amnesia or something, like a murder pit. But the way I saw the pathing when he was chasing me, when you first like you go up that short flight of stairs and he's right in front of you, like nope, and you turn around and go back to that. Dad.
Ooh,
So in conclusion, we all hated the fucking baby. And it was
so-
terrible.
So yeah, like I went under the bed, wrapped back around him, and went out and was fine. So in general, I like none of this really impacted me in like I was afraid or like uncomfortable. I thought it was like messed up for sure, but
It was definitely shocking.
it was shocking, and I really appreciated the creativity and them willing to go that direction
Yeah.
and lean into like how horrifying that actually is.
Babies are horrifying. I have 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm never having one.
I had. They're-
Yeah, I'm with Rob. Never having one. So.
But I really appreciate like it sounds weird to say, but like the artistry of like them leaning into how horrifying this whole area is.
I
and
think
how-
honestly, it's kind of like I know the director's fucked up, but it's kind of like that anxiety of having children to begin with, right? With movies like Rosemary's Baby or other movies like Eraserhead, less fucked up director there. Well, fucked up in other ways, but anyway.
David Lynch is a fine man. He just makes very interesting things.
Yes. But you know, those films, those horror films about anxiety, about having children to begin with, about having
Right.
a baby, the traumatic experience. Not speaking for myself, of course, but that sort of traumatic experience for people who can give birth, you know. So it's just, I think that was definitely some of the deeper psychology they were going into there, or that's the way I read it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Real quick, we have an email from Beaten Down Brian, friend of the show.
Brian!
Yeah, he says, "Hey gang, hope everyone is well. We're very well. I wanted to talk about House Beneviento. Normally, I don't like when games take away your weapons for no reason, and I'm also not a huge fan of hide-and-seek genre of horror, but I think they really made it work here. I think it's just short enough that tension remains high throughout, and really, you only have to hide that one time. Boy, did I want to hide, though, because this thing was freaky as fuck. I never want to be called Dada ever again."
Dada.
I
That
can only...
laugh.
Oh, yeah, it's the
Oh
worst.
god, that is fucking nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
right there.
the fucking laugh. I think that kind of re-scared like Kim all over again when she heard that laugh. She's like, "That laugh," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm trying to run. Please not now."
Awful and a great dichotomy. Anyway, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, you're fine.
So good.
Back to me, Don Brian. I can honestly say it's the most scared I've ever been while playing a Resident Evil game. I agree for sure.
I
It's
think
up
it's
there for
definitely
me.
the scariest Resident Evil moment for sure.
Yeah, it's up there. It's because I just had that one moment with Jack Baker, so that one's really high for me too. But this is possibly the most scared I've ever been in a Resident Evil game. It's definitely neck and neck with the first hour of RE7 for me.
Yeah, it's the best designed horror for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me.
Yeah. He also says, I also really like the section with Angie straight after. They lead you into false sense of security with the elevator. And then,
Yeah.
bam, hope you like dolls, MFer. They're
That's
really...
so
Okay,
good.
so
It's great.
so did anyone find this boss a little annoying? And it may have just been me, but I died a couple times, and I was like, "Fuck
You
this!
can
I
die
can't."
here?
Yeah, you can die here.
The dolls will start, like, attacking you, right? If you don't find her fast enough?
Yes, if you don't find her fast enough. And I don't do well under pressure. I kind of folded after a couple times. I'm like, "Fuck, starting over." So I just looked up a guide, and I was able to beat her on my third or fourth try. But I found this I like this boss fight, to be clear. I thought it was interesting and different enough from Lady D and everything else. I thought it was good. I just found it frustrating for me personally because number one, I was stressed by the time limit, and two, and because there was an explicit time limit, I was never exactly sure when they were going to come.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I also just couldn't differentiate between the dolls and where Angie was. And so, yeah, I just found this a little frustrating, but I mostly really liked it. It's a minor complaint.
Yeah, I like that it's different for sure, and it helps to have multiple pairs of eyes looking for the doll. Was for sure helpful to have somebody along for the ride.
I've like booked it to each location like immediately.
Yeah,
I don't know if I got it
I
super.
mean, my wife
lucky or
was there
something,
with me, but I feel like she didn't really help me.
I was
more
by
like
complete
me
by
just like
myself,
running the
just
house.
cruising through.
Because she was always the Angie doll was always a little bit bigger. You know,
It was
a big
it was the
giveaway.
coloration, and she
Yeah.
was the most thin, and she was always on the floor.
You know, and it's like
I never picked her out.
Well,
I
no,
never
for
sure,
pick her
for
out.
sure.
among-
it's like in
among the
cartoons,
dolls.
like old cartoons, like the backgrounds would not have the
The
same
Scooby-Doo
color
effect.
as the objects that would be manipulated within those cartoons. It had that kind of effect for me, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like it was honestly think that the hardest time was initially looking for her the first time, because there every time after there's a blood trail.
Yeah.
That leads directly to her body.
And
or
and
the doll.
I followed those blood trails, but I guess it didn't occur to me to look. I think she was hiding in cabinets one of the times or something. But it didn't occur to me to look in there or something. I can't remember what
I
happened.
wonder if there's a possibility that she appears in different locations.
Oh yeah, maybe it's
I think-
randomized.
it's possible.
Okay, so where was the first location for everyone? Was that
She
in
was in the
top room?
kitchen. Wait, no.
Hallway.
Was it up the stairs? I went up the stairs.
Up the stairs was
was
the second one for me.
That was the first one for me.
The first one was in the same room. I went around like in the kitchen, but it was right around the corner, and she was tucked in this little spot. Grabbed her, stabbed her, went, and then followed up the stairs into that room. She was in the left-hand corner, got her, stabbed her, went back downstairs, and then from the front door, directly left, I found her in that little... It could be.
I think it's random because my first one was up, and consistently, my first one was up the stairs to the right, and then her, and then downstairs in the main room where you first see her, and then the third one was
Maybe that was it.
towards the front door, to the right of it, and then that was a killing blow for me.
Maybe it was that. I
Yeah.
can't remember for sure.
I think it might be randomized because my first one was behind like the desk on the bottom floor. Second was
like
on the top floor.
The round desk that's sitting there in the corner.
I think so.
Interesting.
then-
So that's actually cool to know that there's some variation of where she'll actually end up.
Yeah,
And
I
so that
also
can-
I really like the animation of the dolls like coming to life. They're like shaking, creepy,
Mm-hmm.
weird crap.
That was really well done too, and it definitely heightened the tension. It was just at that point I was like, I want to be out of this fucking house now.
Oh, for sure.
I just like the way it looked when you were stabbing Angie, and like you could see like the weird shit underneath the shell of the
like the
of
weird,
That was so cool.
parasite
Even
tentacle
the
things.
animation, I couldn't even be that mad when the fucking doll stabbed me because honestly, the animations there were so superb, and like Ethan's hand just gets so fucked up again for the millionth time.
Did you finish Brian's email by chance?
No, we're gonna go back to it.
Okay.
Brian's here. He's part of the conversation now.
Okay.
He says there really wasn't much to it after that, and it would have been fun if you had to fight off some of the other dolls when searching for Angie or something. I will say, upon replaying the game, and this is a complaint I have as well, this becomes a section you just kind of have to get through because all the tension is lost once you know the enemy triggers, etc., which, as it happens, is my biggest critique of hide-and-seek horror to begin with. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. This feels like it's longer, but it feels like what I was saying about that first forest section where you just kind of have to push through it on subsequent playthroughs because you already know exactly what's happening, exactly what you need to do. You just have to do it.
Doing the
I
motions,
can't
yeah.
wait till the GDQ community like really get a hold of this and just do a fucking run and just blitz through this.
They just
goddamn
fall
section.
through the house and
Yeah,
in the
my-
basement, grab Adams, and fly back up.
Yeah.
My brother, he's watched most of the game at this point, and he was telling me about some speedruns. Like, they've already found some out of bounds and stuff that they're doing.
Good. Yes.
Nice.
Break the game.
to
Break
see
the game.
Love to
Yeah.
see it.
So yeah, that's kind of it for the... Well, we should talk about when you're down in the basement solving the puzzles, you come back a couple of times and you hear stuff on the radio that
Yes.
sounds like there was like a problem with the birth. Either like it was a miscarriage, or like Mia's just worried that the baby like looks weird, maybe it has the virus in it or something. It sounds like she's hiding something, whether that's
Oh,
just
she
Ethan's-
absolutely is hiding.
yeah, whether that's just Ethan like his delusions because he's delusional right now. But
Well, I figured it was what's her name, the person in charge of the doll.
oh yeah, I don't
Angie.
have her name written.
Yeah, well, I thought Angie was the name of the doll.
Angie's the
Maybe
doll.
Yeah, it started with an L, I think.
But I thought that she was the one like manipulating you and making you see things,
Yeah.
and that was kind of her ability, her gift from Mother Miranda was the ability to like manipulate the environment in a harmful way. And so I viewed it as either it is true information that is being relayed to manipulate you in this instance, or it is, which is what I figure is probably the case, or it is just things that she is trying to sow doubt in your mind.
It was Donna, actually.
Donna, that's right.
Sorry, had to look that up.
No, you're good. You're good. I appreciate it. So that was kind of where I was leaning, is that she was contributing to manifesting these hallucinations before
Yeah.
you.
I feel like there's probably some truth in it, though, along with like the cutscenes that we saw earlier,
Sure,
of
for
their
sure.
strained relationship.
For sure.
Yeah, I found that really interesting, and I hope we get more like payoff from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so-
think that's what they're building toward, and I hope so.
Yeah.
There were some visions, I think, when you brought back the second flask that Ethan got, or was that from the first flask? I don't know because I entered both of them at the same time.
Oh,
yeah,
I
did
didn't
the
even
same
think to
thing,
do it.
So I don't know.
I
don't
entered them
remember.
separately, but I'm trying to recall a vision.
I mean, that kind of
Drawing a
sounds
blank.
familiar, like flashes of images, but I don't.
You got
like,
flashes.
particularly
It was kind
remember
of
what
like
they
the
were.
Mass Effect 1 flashes of images. But yeah, I don't remember exactly what was shown. I was hoping someone else did.
No. Real quick, there was a note. There's like a small section here of going back and you go through the garden and you get that new shotgun, which is cool.
I don't have it. I gotta go back and get it.
Yeah, you gotta go back to that garden, man.
Worth it.
I've been back at the garden, but they didn't find that shotgun.
Yeah. Well, there's a shotgun. You should get it. But there's a note you can get here from the butler that like talks about his master Donna, like meeting with Mother Miranda, and Miranda like takes her under her wing and gives her whatever this gift is, and
I
he
think I
talks.
missed
Super
that
cool.
note.
And yeah, and
Oh.
she wasn't able to like communicate with people normally until she was given this doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doll is what
Yeah.
has helped her like come out of her shell.
Yeah.
supposedly.
But he also
Yeah,
talks
I
about
like that.
yeah, she had him plant yellow flowers on a grave, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
after that he started seeing his dead family or something. So there's something about she creates the delusions through like a drug or something in this yellow plant. So I was wondering if they're like you ever walk through yellow flowers or something on the way to House Beneviento. I didn't see them, but that would
Yeah, they're around
make a
the
lot of
grave.
sense.
They're
Are
up-
they?
they're-
Yeah.
right. You're right up front.
Right where her
And
treasure
he
is.
literally, if you
Yep.
examine
Oh,
the
right there.
grave, Ethan literally like an idiot, like a fool, kneels down like right and looks like directly at him,
And
or
that's
directly at
when-
the grave
Then
anyway.
he picks one up
Yeah.
and eats one. just
Yeah, but
for
you
fucking-
start
Yeah, that's right. And then like Willy Wonka comes at us somewhere,
Yeah.
and he's like,
And there's, like,
you
a
know,
chocolate
starts becoming
river.
a drug trip.
You start having the visions of Mia and stuff before that, though, and like you see the dolls that are actually hanging bodies before that. So I thought even earlier than that there was something.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for notes. You just go back in and slot that second flask.
Yeah, and the Duke has a doll.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
He's just hanging out with a little doll,
rude.
just fucking with you.
Do we want to do any speculations for what we think is going to happen next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna see some fucked up shit.
Okay.
And then
Good.
we're gonna find out some stuff, probably.
Right.
And then
Right.
we're gonna fight a couple bosses.
I don't know. That sounds
This
ambitious.
seems this is very ambitious for a Resident
Just
Evil
saying.
game, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
I
really
don't know.
ambitious.
It's a
hold me to
bold
it.
strategy, Cotton. We'll
I've
see. if
been
it
I've been
plays-
wrong before many a
plays
time
off.
on this podcast.
So I think, what do we think about Chris's involvement? Because if you go back to the village and go back
He's trying
into-
to stop something. They're not gonna make Chris a bad
well,
guy out of nowhere.
maybe. But you go back into in that village in one of those little churches
Yeah, you
or
can find
chapels.
his like setup.
Yeah, there's like a computer set up with a network, and yeah, it's really really cool. Like the little slight change in
Yeah.
environment that way. But I don't know. Like I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to them like corrupting Chris in some way. They probably won't. But like, do you think that like what do you think Chris's motivation might be?
I think he's on a mission. He has a mission from Umbrella to go and exterminate some kind of virus or fungus that has been infected that is left over from the original Umbrella Corporation. That was like maybe there was an offsite because I know, future spoilers, I guess, but Heisenberg's area. I do know kind of what Heisenberg's area is, and that maybe what might have been the flashes was
Maybe.
the different areas because they
The
talk about like
locations.
one's a swamp, one's a factory.
That's when you
the
go
Duke
and
tells you
talk
about that.
to the Duke. Yeah, you get the
yeah.
flashes.
So
Yeah.
so we kind of know that he has a factory, so he knows if Umbrella had any kind of thing to do with that factory because it kind of seems like he's the right hand man to Mother Miranda, and what kind of shit was cooked up in that thing.
Right.
But what Rose's involvement is in that.
Well, right. Why
Seems like she
kidnap
has
the daughter?
something within her genetic code from the shit that Mia has from being injected with that fungus shit from the first one or from 7. That is the key to something. It's something genetic. And
Yeah.
Rose is the
I'm
key.
very curious about Ethan not having run into Chris yet and just seeing like the remnants of his operation, and like I really want to see that showdown between them and get some answers from Chris.
It'd be
of why he
fucking
did it.
awesome if Chris was the last boss.
It
That would be cool.
That would be
That
sick.
would be cool. It would be even cooler if it was a giant boulder.
You think they're gonna do like a Mia thing where you play as Chris for a little while,
I wouldn't put
doing
past
his
them.
part of the mission?
I hope not.
Probably for like
It wouldn't surprise me if that was DLC. If that doesn't happen,
Yeah,
I mean,
more
I know
Chris
they did that in
DLC
7.
like the last one. That was fun.
Yeah, no more heroes.
Yeah.
I literally didn't play that. I should probably go
Oh,
back and
super
play
fun.
that.
I loved it. Great.
Yeah, I'll say I don't want them to do that. I could definitely see it happening, but I never like those sections in Resident Evil unless they're permanently transferring you to the new character and you're just you're building up again or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always like, cool, let me take a break from all that great power growth that I was on and just do this little action section that's kind of like scripted, and then I can get back to doing the thing I actually want to do. So hopefully that's not the case, or they do it in a creative and interesting way, unlike the Mia thing where it's just like this little section in the middle where you're restarting basically, and then you get back to where you were before. I don't like that.
I think they know from the last game that a lot of people didn't like that area, so I don't see them rehashing that in this one. I mean, I know they have a similar structure and format, but just so many people did not enjoy that section where you go into the boat and play as another character. I would be shocked if that's what happened again.
Yeah, from what I've heard, and I'm not going to say any spoilers, but from what I've heard, it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay,
it seems like we're only going to get more action packed from here. We're going to dive more into that RE4-ness of feeling really powerful. I just hope it doesn't. I don't think it will, because the enemy diversity in this game is so good as opposed to RE7. That was definitely one of the major issues. But I think I'm just hoping that we don't go down that road that RE7 did, where it was like you just felt unstoppable, right? Like, I don't mind feeling powerful. I just don't want to feel unstoppable.
Just had C4 everywhere and just boop, boop,
yeah.
boop.
Like you're some kind of like evil mastermind, like
Uh-huh.
boop, boop.
It's like, okay, this is kind of overkill. I have 15 C4. Come on.
Yeah.
But to get back to talking about Chris, I feel like maybe he is, I'm sure he is on a mission, and what he did is for the good of humanity or whatever, but I still feel like no matter what, he is like at this point an evil character, because there's no way that the way he did it was the correct and good guy way to do it, breaking into their house and just murdering the shit out of her and stealing the daughter and not saying anything to Ethan about why he's doing anything.
I honestly in the pit of my stomach, I feel like Mia is somehow still alive. Like, I feel like that's going to be a big reveal, and I could be way wrong. I could be pulling a Tyler right now, but I think it's only because Tyler keeps saying that he's always wrong. So I'm just going with that.
Just a joke.
No,
from
I'm
the
always
last...
right. I am always right.
Oh,
until
okay,
I am proven wrong.
But Mia, I think Mia is still alive. I think that's going to be a big reveal. Or the big reveal is that Rose is some kind of bioweapon, and they just can't let her be with Mia because Mia's unstable and Ethan's a doofus. I don't know.
My suspicion
He's a fucking
is
dork. He can't handle this kid.
my suspicion is that Mia acquired Rose somehow, like through illicit means.
Oh fuck! Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh wow!
And like
it wasn't
is
actually like a birth. She took her.
Well,
That's
either
right.
like she had like a miscarriage and was given, because she like you're literally in this area and she's reading a local fable or story, local fairy tale, and she's making a local food stew for dinner, and so like she's probably very familiar with this region and probably responsible, like either part of the cult or like was used as a facilitator in a Mother Mary.
So you're saying Maria.
Mother
Miranda.
Mia is Mother Miranda.
Mia. Well, no, I'm not saying necessarily that Mia is Mother Miranda. That could be a possibility.
Could be,
but more so that like she is involved specifically with this cult in a way that is responsible for trying to manifest. Rose is a key to that, and Chris is trying to like take her to prevent it, and maybe get stopped along the way, and is trying to resume his mission and reacquire or help Ethan reacquire parts of her to like stop the ceremony or something.
Chris, what's the policy on kicking off guests when they're too smart and they're making too insightful comments?
I told you this is how I was able
like...
to deduce the shit in RE7 with the grandma.
Like
I sit and think about these things, and like
they're like never thought of this in a million years.
But the game is really good about leaving breadcrumb trails. That's what a good mystery is about.
For sure.
Is leaving good breadcrumb trails about like.
God, I hope we're all so fucking wrong.
I mean, I could very well be. I've been plenty wrong before, but I start thinking about the components that they're alluding to and why they're relevant, and like why that could be interconnected in some way. Granted, Resident Evil can go off a fucking cliff and does. And in really weird ways, but they're like, I'm just trying to think of like the motivations of each of the characters and why they would try to do that from like a surface level big picture.
Yeah, I mean, we still haven't gotten a clear picture of Mother Miranda, even when she was in,
we have no idea what
she was in the church.
That's a huge unknown. The frog guy's motivations outside of like potential teasing of like the fin thing from the fable. What does that literally mean? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot that we still don't know, and we'll have to
exactly
cover in the next episode.
I'm looking forward to finding out.
For sure. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us for this episode. Anybody have any very last ending words?
This was fun. You guys have been great.
You
Yeah,
too.
tall
Yes.
ladies hot.
Thank you for coming on, Rob and Dory. Dory, you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, sure. I do a podcast every week with my friends Mitch and Seb and James, and we do a podcast called PS Premiere, where we talk about what we've been playing lately and then get into all the latest and greatest PlayStation news. Don't worry, we rag on Sony all the fucking time, give them shit all the time. So we're not.
It's literally PlayStation Sucks podcast.
That's right. That's actually what the PS
PlayStation
PS
Sucks
stands
Premiere.
for. Yeah, that's right. But we just had a recent episode with Alex Brenegar, who's done a lot of logos for a lot of people. And he's great. He's awesome. We talked about Hood Outlaws and Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and we had a huge RE8 impressions 2.0. No big spoilers, but we do get some impressions from folks who have beaten the game, but they're very tight-lipped about anything major, so most people can watch that. And unless you're really sensitive to spoilers, I think, which is fine, I think you in the general sense will probably enjoy it. But yeah, we do that every week.
It's great.
And I'm really excited. We've got some great content coming up this month, and especially next month. I don't want to say too much, but it is the 1 year anniversary of Last of Us 2. So just putting that out there. So it's I'm very excited for our content.
So
next
we review bomb the game.
That's right. We're gonna fucking review bomb that game. Open Critic is never gonna be the same.
Awesome. Rob, you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, we do Draft Bunks. Recently this weekend, just got back from a trip out to Washington where we all got to meet officially, and it was incredible. And we did a community Q&A, and it was lovely and incredibly humbling. And yeah, it was an absolute delight. And we'll probably talk more about it at some point in the future. But yeah, podcast services, Twitch, all the fun socials.
Awesome. I know over at Spelunkers, we've got a bunch of stuff going on. Most relevant to this is I am playing through the entire Resident Evil franchise. Well, the numbered entries from 1 through 8 anyways. I just finished Resident Evil 2, and I'm going to be starting Resident Evil 3 Remake this upcoming Wednesday if you're listening to this right when it comes out. So come join me for those. Eventually, I will be playing Resident Evil 8 on there.
Awesome. Those have been fun to watch.
Yeah, it's such a good time. I mean, it's a great series for replays. It has so much replay value, it's ridiculous.
RE3 Remake is underrated. And
it's
great,
a very good game.
I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
It's a very good game. Not the best in the series, but a very good game.
Very much overpriced. They should have bundled both of them together. Not so great job, Capcom. Award. Thank you.
Tyler, you want to plug something?
Yeah, I want to plug 2 things real quick. Gotta Rank 'Em All is one of the new podcasts that we've launched recently. It's probably my favorite podcast out of any of the podcasts I listen to, even though I put it on Twitter. I work with these guys, so it's kind of ridiculous to say that, but it's so much fun.
It is fun.
It's such a blast just going and just hearing your friends talk shit about Pokemon and how stupid and weird they are, and like hearing all those
Jinx will end at the very bottom of this list.
Black
God
Hand is
help
not
us
cool,
all.
and she's going down.
Down with Jinx.
Gudra deserved better.
Yes,
listen to the latest
that's
episode
true.
with Bob Yule, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But Gotta Rank 'Em All is amazing, and it deserves all the love. And then I wanted to post or talk about Wasted series with Tom. We're hopefully this week on this Saturday going to finish Wasteland 3 if the game just stops fucking crashing all the time. We've had some really bad crashes that we've lost a lot of time because of crashes. So hopefully we'll finish that up, and then we will be starting It Takes Two, which is now called It Takes Brews, because we're gonna drink beers and play It Takes Two together. It's good.
I
Amazing game.
love It Takes Two.
I've had it since it launched and have not touched it yet, so I'm very excited.
My partner and I are done with it. I super recommend that game.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it
so
while
good.
drinking, so it's gonna be a great time.
Great teamwork. I'm sure you guys will get through it. No problem. Communicate clearly.
Platforming problems.
Hey, you know what? I think both of you drunk is probably going to be better than Marvel playing by himself. So it's probably gonna.
It's pretty incredible. I gotta say, watching Marvel play that.
No, shout out to Marvel, the real MVP of It Takes Two.
All right.
Incredible.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Game Exploration Podcast. We will be back talking about, a different crew will be back talking about Death Stranding in just 1 week. And
What?
Yeah. And then this crew will be back talking about the second half of Resident Evil 8, so play all the way through to the end and send us your questions. We love getting questions. Thank you, everybody who sent in comments and questions for us. We'll be talking about that in 2 short weeks. Thanks, everybody. Bye.